What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Top of the Key. This is episode 9. I'm your host, Sai Balabhadra Petruni, also known as The Beard 2.0. As you can see, it's coming in beautifully now with 4 months of beard growage time. Like always, I will remind everyone at home to like the video, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment in the comments section below. And if you like what you see, leave a positive comment. And if you don't like what you see, leave a negative comment. As negative as you want. I love hate mail. If you want to send a death threat, that's always new and exciting, so I would like that as well. We have a very exciting episode today for you folks. A lot of NBA stuff with a little bit of NFL sprinkled on top. And we have a very special guest. We got Mack and Rivara here with us to talk about the latest exciting sports news. Mac, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's going good, Sai. It's going really good. I'm ready to talk. I got a lot to say.
He's got a lot to say, folks, and let's just get right into it. One of the most exciting things about having Mac on the show is usually we have 6 hot takes. I come up with 3. The guest will come up with 3. But no, folks, today Mac went above and beyond, and he has 4 hot takes for us with a total of 7. So, Mac, hit us with your first hot take.
My first hot take? This is my favorite one. This is probably the most realistic hot take I made. It's a nice segue into what I think we'll be talking about more. But I think it's a Bears hot take, Bears related. I think that Trubisky puts up average numbers this year, has one fairly good game, and a few highlight plays. I think with the help of Foles and the Bears defense, I think they've got a shot at the playoffs. I think they could win the wild card and lose in the first round. That's if I were to guess. And because of this very average quarterback year, the Bears front office is going to give him $500 million over 10 years on his next contract to beat out Mahomes for the most paid player in the history of U.S. sports. That's my first hot take.
Is the second part of your hot take really part of your hot take? The contract?
Yeah, that is the hot take, actually, frankly.
That is just a scorching hot take. That is an out-of-this-world hot take.
It would be the most Bears move in the history of the world, trust me. I mean, we paid Jay Cutler. I can't even remember what the contract was, but just the fact that we paid him at all over the course of 5 to 7 years is sad. And, I mean, just knowing what the Bears are going to do, or knowing the Bears at all, it seems so reasonable. $500 million over 10 years is going to be the most overpaid player in history, and it will never ever be beaten.
Okay,
and then
so
talk for the rest of his career.
Here's where I stand on this. Going off of what you originally said, if Mitch Trubisky can take the Bears to the playoffs, he got a great defense, obviously, and if he can do enough to get them to the playoffs, maybe even win a playoff game, I think he'll get a good contract, and they'll probably overpay him. I think the comparing it to a Mahomes deal is a little bit of a stretch, just a little bit. But what I really wanted to say is that I completely disagree with you on this take, because I previously, a few weeks ago, I gave my own hot take saying the Bears would go 0-16. I think they're going to be really, really bad this year. The quarterback situation is just the surface level problem. I mean, over the course of the regular season, if you have an offense that literally cannot do anything, your defense is going to start suffering too. I mean, you've had Khalil Mack for 2 years, and you really haven't been able to really get anything done with him. I mean, guys have started to leave on that defense, so I think obviously 0-16 is also a bit of a stretch, but I do think they finished at the bottom of the NFC North worse than the Detroit Lions.
There's no way. There's no way they're worse than the Lions. I mean, look, that hot take was halfway a joke. Obviously, like if I were putting money on it, the Bears aren't going to be great. I'll say that. But I'm just saying, if Trubisky has an even slightly below average year, the Bears are going to overpay him. That's like a fact. I know that for sure. Because I mean, I don't know what the deal is. I see a lot of GMs do this, but I also see it just mainly in Chicago. If you make a bad draft pick, which the Bears did, you like to stand behind that draft pick as much as possible, especially when you're like now getting shit for like, you've got Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson who actually have had, Patrick Mahomes' amazing career so far, and Deshaun Watson pretty good too. I mean, when you have players like that who were drafted after Trubisky, you're going to get shit. And then people, my opinion is that the Bears are probably going to want to prove themselves right, that they were somehow right in drafting Trubisky, and they're going to overpay him. If it's 500 million over 10 years, I'll probably cry. Good thing is it's probably not going to be that. But like at the end of the day, if he even does slightly okay, the Bears are going to hand him a nice contract. I see it coming a mile away.
Yeah, I could see if he surpasses expectations for himself this year. The Bears
That's
making
surpassing
some
expectations.
and trust me, the expectations are low.
Yeah, they are. They are. Trust me.
Yeah, I agree with you from that standpoint that if he exceeds his expectations that are set for him by the organization, they could make some sort of boneheaded move and try and give him like a crazy contract that he doesn't deserve.
Oh my God, it's gonna happen, dude. Trust me. I mean, I know we're gonna talk about the Bears in a little bit, but I just want to say too, like, the thing about his contract is that, like, if you really think that, shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. All I was gonna say was like, if you really think that if the bar's that low, he probably can do a little bit better, in my opinion. I mean, 2018 was okay at least, and it really wasn't a good Bears team because of Trubisky. But I mean, if he can actually get something together, the bar is set pretty low for him. The Bears are known to do that. I think it very well could be a realistic possibility that he gets a stupidly good contract.
Yeah, this is what I'll say. That's definitely a possibility out there. The Bears make some. I mean, you said it with Jay Cutler, and that's exactly true. But we will get back to the Bears because my first hot take is about the Bears as well, and we're gonna talk a lot about the Bears and the quarterback situation there. But before we get to that, there's a lot of talk around if the NFL season will happen. Will the NBA bubble be kind of imploded from inside if someone gets corona and then the season has to end again? I wanted to get your thoughts on, do you think corona could halt sports for an even longer time than we've seen? I mean, seasons are starting to take shape again, and there's the plan that all these seasons are going to take place, but you never know. One case could cause a lot of issues throughout the entire sport.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I mean, was it Rashawn Holmes that ordered a pizza and he stepped outside the bubble line? Now he has to quarantine for like 2 weeks if he wants to go back.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. I mean, I think that it's obviously needed if we want sports to come back, because if it was just like regular basketball, regular football is normal, it would be and one guy got it, it would be like a cesspool for the virus, and it'd be so easy to transmit. So at the end of the day, I mean, like, I personally think bubbles are needed. I think the NBA is going to lead the way in creating this new environment where sports are able to be played in a pandemic. And I mean, it's also not just sports too. I mean, you see a lot of different organizations, like businesses, restaurants, things like that are like doing whatever they can to survive in like the pandemic world, and it's like, I say the NBA because obviously they're the ones that are starting with the bubble. They're like getting that all set up. Like they're kind of they're blazing that ground for like sports to be able to continue being sports. But I think there's organizations like the NBA is huge, obviously. Baseball, really, really big as well. I mean, it's undoubted. It's un it's inarguable. That's the word I was looking for. That like football is probably the biggest in America, and I just think that like I keep hearing talk about like, oh, the NFL is going to shut down the NFL. Like, there's no way they can do it. They're not going to do the bubble. They're blah blah blah. I just think that like I completely see an NFL season it's happening this fall, especially if the bubble works for the NBA and they actually get things done and have a real season, because that's way too big of an organization to just give up all the money that could be made, all the TV entertainment, like, all the money they make from the Super Bowl, just like even just ads for Super Bowl, you know what I mean? So like if the bubble works for the NBA, which I mean, as long as no one does what Rashawn Holmes did and step out of, past the line or whatever they call it, I think the NFL will almost have to do that, because they're not just going to shut down the season and risk, all those teams are paying contracts to players. All like, the NFL as a whole has like, there's a lot of like fees involved with that. They're not just going to give up all of their revenue for an entire season because, my point is they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way to do it. They have to. I mean, it's a huge revenue source. It's a huge organization that a lot of people watch. They're going to find a way.
Yeah, that's where I see where there's a problem, because if you look at the NBA, they've had this idea of a bubble for the past couple of months, and they knew they were going to need a bubble when they decided to come back for the season, and they started creating plans for the bubbles, and then they announced that they would do it at the start of June. Now, if all the NBA players stay cautious and stay within the confines of the bubble and don't try and go out and do anything stupid, like a lot of people suspect that some players might, then the NBA is fine. The problem with the NFL is the NFL, ever since Corona started, has kind of just gone about things normally in a way where it's like, oh, things are going to be fine once the season actually starts and takes place. They went on with everything as scheduled, the draft, releasing the schedule, but they haven't actually, there's no indication that they have a concrete plan on how to deal with things when the season actually begins. There's been no talk of an NFL bubble right now. And even if they have a bubble, think about this. The NBA, each team has 15 players, and they're only bringing back 22 teams. So if you look at that, 22 times 15, that's about 330 players total. NFL, they have to have all 32 teams, and they're each 53-man rosters, plus all the coaching staff, plus all the trainers. You probably have to have multiple bubbles if you did anything like that. I know the MLB is doing something similar to that, where there are like most of the games are just divisional games. But if there's any league that gets canceled, it has to be the NBA and NFL. Sorry, it's just there's just so much personnel involved in making that happen, and it's the most contact sport.
Oh yeah, no, I totally get that. I just think that they're not gonna. I mean, I've seen that too. I've seen the thing with the NFL. They haven't been doing much. Not a lot of plans. And you can see the differences in leagues there too. Obviously, like the NBA, they were on top of that. You know what I mean? And granted, it split their season, which sucks. I mean, the season ended abruptly because of Rudy Gobert. But like at the end of the day, I personally think that with the NFL, they're going to have to figure out something if this continues being a problem. I think it probably will continue. I mean, that's kind of a pessimistic outlook, because I really like it if it didn't continue. But like, I mean, obviously when the football season rolls around later this year, I think it's going to still be a problem. And if they want to have that season, they're going to have to figure something out. And yeah, multiple bubbles versus one big bubble, definitely interesting as to what we would see, because that's a lot of people, even just players alone, to throw into one gigantic bubble. That'd be really hard to do. I agree with that, actually. Multiple bubbles might work like the MLB, but you never know. But I just think it'd be, if I were a betting man, I'd put my money on there being some sort of season, because again, like I feel like they're just not gonna like give up. They're not gonna be like, oh, we're screw it. I don't like it didn't work out. Well, guess there's no NFL. Like they're gonna figure something out to get to make the season happen, especially with this much time to actually think and like address the situation. Um, if, and especially too, like I said, see how the NBA works. I mean, maybe the amount of people that fit into the entire NBA bubble could represent like a few teams that play each other in the mini bubbles that you're talking about. Like if one works, maybe they could have multiple. Like it'd probably cost a lot of money, but when you're thinking about giving up your entire season's worth of football revenue, I just don't think that they're going to give that up, especially considering the fact that there hasn't been sports in so long, and you can make so much money off the fact that just people want to see sports again. You know what I mean? On top of all of that, the NFL being the biggest league in the U.S., the way it works, I don't see them canceling. I see them figuring either doing multiple bubbles or somehow setting up one huge bubble. And that's gonna cause a lot of like tensions for players too, because I was thinking about this the other day, but like in basketball, like yeah, okay, you're on like you said, it's a 15-man roster. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even the players that are on the bench are probably still going to play to some degree in some games, and you want to be there for your team. You want to hold up your team. Whereas in football, what if you're like the third string right guard? It's like, do you really want to give up seeing your family for like what 6 months just so you can
Yeah.
go and sit on the sidelines of your team? Like I definitely see, if they're going to do a bubble, they could definitely shorten up the amount of people that are actually on the team. That might be something that they need to do too. I don't know. What do you think about that?
That is definitely something to consider. But the problem is they have a large roster because there are so many injuries in football,
Yeah,
and
of course.
that's why they have so many people there. And but I understand like the argument about like being away from your family and all that. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna lose out on a salary, if you're the third string right guard, you're not making a whole lot of money anyways, and you're gonna need your salary. It's not like people look at athletes like they're getting paid out of this world. Those are the top guys. If you look at
Of course.
if you look at like these, like you said, like third string right guards, these guys who are like journeyman players who play for like a bunch of different teams, their average length of career is like 3 or 4 years, and yeah, for those few years they'll be getting paid more than the average American. But like how long is that going to last them?
I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe some of those journeymen are really good at like accounting or something. I don't know.
I knew you were gonna say that, something like that.
I don't know, man. Maybe they can find other jobs. I mean, that sounds a little bit mean. I'm not saying that those players are completely valueless. I'm just saying if I was a football player and I wasn't really playing that much, and it meant losing my family or not seeing them for losing my family, like not seeing my family for months and months and months, and I'm probably not going to play anyways. I'll like outside of the first two right guards getting injured. I don't know. I just don't. Even with the salary, I might want to figure out something else where I can be closer to my family. Even if football is like something I've always wanted to do, something that I've been doing for a long time, and it's my career. Maybe like I don't know this. The pandemic changes a lot. That might be some people's choice. I mean, you've got a lot of people, not just obviously third string right guards, that feel that way. That like or
Mhm.
that might feel that way or have it's a possibility that they feel that way. And I think what I was referencing was more of the impact that it'll have on the sport as a whole. Because like you said, in football, a lot of people get injured. That's why there's so many people on the sidelines. So when you have these other guys that are all of a sudden saying like, "Hey, I'm not sure if I want to do this." I mean, you see it in the NBA too. It's been not anybody super notable, but like definitely some players have said like, "No, I want to stay home. I want to be with my family." Blah blah blah, whatever they say, and like whatever their reasons may be. And I just think that with football, since you have so many more players and you have to have so many more players on reserve, you're going to see a lot of those players instead of there'll be a lot of them that want to play. Obviously, if you're the backup quarterback, you're going to go, of course. But like, there might be a lot of players on a lot of different teams that are just going to say like, I'm sorry, I don't really think this is worth it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and that's why logistically, it's hardest for the NFL to come up with a plan to have a season. I mean, it's a lot easier for some of these other sports.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna try and figure something out. I agree with you on that point. I'm definitely playing a little bit of devil's advocate. I think they're gonna try and figure something out, but there's a lot of risk, and I would say I wouldn't throw it out of the question for something to happen while the season's going on, and like cases to hit, and they might have to cancel the season midway through. I'm not. I think there's a realistically higher probability than you might think of that happening.
Oh no, I think honestly that's been my biggest worry with the NBA because I'm so excited for it to come back. And I mean, we've got sports in a week. The Cubs opening day is on the 24th. I'm wearing my Cubs jersey. I'm excited. I wanted to come back. I want to watch these teams, but at the end of the day, one guy gets it, and then all of a sudden it goes, you can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? You get one person screws it up for everybody, and I mean, well, not screws it up, but that is really scary, especially with football because there's just so many people, and then one guy gets it, entire team. That might be a reason why these mini bubbles are a good idea. One bubble goes down, but the entire sport, is still kind of trucking along. I could see that being a possibility. One thing I was going to ask you is, do you think that we're going to see different seasons for sports in the future? Like, we've kind of got the sports have been in this routine for God knows how long, of like football's in the fall and then the winter, baseball's in the spring and summer, basketball's like, fall and winter as well. And then a little bit in the summer, like, for the playoffs. Do you think we're going to see changes in that, like notable changes? Or do you think that, once things start going back to normal, we're going to start seeing like pretty much the same kind of sports schedule throughout the year as we have been in the past?
I'm not sure. That's a really good question, but we've seen in the NBA that like a lot of innovative ideas have come about just on how to resume the season. You had this play-in tournament idea. You had like a FIFA World Cup type of group stage idea, which was really cool. And I think, look, for the most part, I think if once they figure out how to combat the virus, maybe a vaccine comes out, whatever happens, I don't think a whole lot is going to change in terms of how seasons take place. But I think it creates more room for more innovative ideas on how to make things more fun.
Sure.
Enhance the fan experience a little bit. Like, I've been saying it for so long that 162 games is honestly such a long MLB season for such a short playoff.
Yeah, that's a pretty good take. I mean, I think that even regardless of the playoffs, 162 games is a little much. You know what I mean? You
don't need 82 NBA games either.
No, I don't think you need that many games either. I mean, what happens when you have these huge, long seasons, you get players like Kawhi who are going to be like, okay, I'm not going to play that much. This is the regular season. Doesn't really matter. If you had more incentive on, games and making players play and actually play up to the level that people want to see them, that's entertaining, I think the NBA could definitely shorten down. Because then, like, if you get down to like 50, 40 games, Kawhi's got to play. Because if he doesn't play, they're not going to get into the playoffs. You know what I mean? And then for baseball's sake, though, no one's doing that. For baseball, I just think they need less games. I think the reason that they have it so high is, like, people like going. I mean, for our teams, Red Sox and the Cubs, never really have much of an attendance problem. You know what I mean?
Sure. What I see, though, and the problem in baseball is, like, there's a lot of regular season games. The culture of going to a game is, yeah, you're going to a game, you're having fun. It's a ball game. Like, you're enjoying yourself. But it's like that one individual game doesn't mean much in the overall landscape of things.
Oh, my God, no. And that's why you see teams like the Reds, for example, Cincinnati Reds. I remember I was watching it, and granted, this is from 2 years ago. So and I know it's still like this, but this is just the example I'm using. I was watching when Jake Arrieta threw a no-hitter at the Reds Stadium. I was watching like through like all the outs and stuff you can watch on no-hitter highlights, and there was like, God, if I had to guess, that stadium probably holds close to like 50,000 people, and there were maybe 5,000 in the stands, like maybe. That's because like no one cares. Like it's one game, and then by the end, the Reds fans were cheering for Jake Arrieta, and it's like no, because no one cares. If they lose one game, who cares? It's one game. You can win another one later. Like obviously you could say that for a lot of sports, but like for baseball, it's especially true. It's 1 out of 162. That's a marathon, man.
Yeah, you're playing games like half the year. Like you're playing games almost every other day for like the whole year. That's pretty much like how it works. It's you go back to back to back to back. It's taxing, man. Like it's tough being an athlete. You have to play so much. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, the coronavirus will alter how all businesses run in some sort of way.
Oh yeah,
people
100%.
People are gonna plan around things and plan in certain ways for things you would never expect to happen, like this current situation we're living in, because you never know what'll happen. And I think things will start changing because of that, and sports will have to change as well. NFL's been one of the most old-fashioned leagues for a very long time, and they're gonna have to update the way they run things, to kind of keep up with the modern times and keep up with how fans are changing. Fans are getting younger too, so it's really interesting to see how that'll all play out. We do have to move on to some other stuff though.
Oh, dude, I need to hear your hot take.
We're getting back to the Bears now.
Yes.
And my first hot take, moving into the conversation, neither Mitch Trubisky nor Nick Foles will be the starting Bears quarterback in 2021.
That's actually not. I don't think that's that hot of a take. Frankly, I'm just saying. I don't think that's that hot of a take. What's Nick Foles' contract again? Isn't he like? Is he still on the same one he got from the Jaguars, where the Bears have 2 more years with him?
I think so. Yeah.
Shut up, Nick.
Well, like my reasoning.
Sure they didn't do anything to his contract. Nick Foles' contract. So the Bears have him for 2 more years. I don't know if the Bears trade him. Yeah, I don't know if they trade him, but yeah, okay, 3 years. I don't know if the Bears trade him, but I could definitely see Trubisky gone after this year. 100%, I could see Trubisky.
Well, the way I see it actually is that because I think the Bears are so bad that they're one of the worst teams in the NFL, and I think they get one of the top draft picks and draft a new quarterback.
Oh, and then draft another crappy quarterback, and then
they might draft.
Do it again.
They might be eligible for Trevor Lawrence, the guy from Clemson. So you never know. That's what I'm basing it off of. That I think I don't think they'll get much from Trubisky or Foles, and they'll have to move on to someone new.
Well, look, I just want to say I'm trying to have as much faith as possible. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yeah.
Don't really. I have a good idea of what I think I'm going to see this season, and then I have an idea of what I would like to see. There's a difference between what I want to see or what I would think would make me happy and what I actually think the Bears are going to do.
Well, based off of that, let me ask you this. Week 1, who's the starter, Foles or Trubisky?
See, perfect question, because I want it to be Nick Foles, but I know the Bears are going to start Trubisky. I like a million miles away, I see the Bears starting Trubisky that day. And they're going to screw up this whole idea of the Bears basically bought Nick Foles to create competition, right? That's like what are they traded for him to give Trubisky competition because they have faith in Trubisky.
They want to light a fire under his ass so that he starts working harder.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, Foles has less to work for than Trubisky does for the starting job. Because Foles has worked with Matt Nagy before on a Super Bowl winning team. is definitely just a generally good quarterback, at least serviceable, good when compared to Trubisky. He's got this reputation about him, even though he's been like, a bit unlucky. He got injured with the Jaguars and, didn't really make. What did he do after he was at the Eagles? Didn't he kind of have a not great season?
Well, look, the thing with the Nick Foles is that he's always played well on the Eagles, but not for any other team. He started off on the Eagles like 6-7 years ago. He played. I'm pretty sure he had like a 7-touchdown game one year, and he was amazing. Like, Eagles fans loved him. Then he got a contract and played for the Chiefs. Absolutely sucked. I think he also played for the Rams. Wasn't great. Then he went back to the Eagles as a backup. Won the Super Bowl as a backup. Won Super Bowl MVP. Then came in for Carson Wentz again the following year. And I think he played really well in the playoffs. He took them to the playoffs and played really well, but they ended up coming up short that year. Then he went to the Jaguars, got injured, didn't play well again. I think the same story is going to continue. Even if you start Nick Foles, I don't see him having a lot of success in Chicago. I think he's an Eagles quarterback. He plays well in Philadelphia for some reason. I think he's a system quarterback. He needs the right coaching and the right system around him. I agree with you though.
He's got Matt Nagy. I think that Matt Nagy could be way better than Matt Nagy and Trubisky. And I'm not saying I think Nick Foles is the next, like, Patrick Mahomes or anything. Well, obviously he's way older, but or Tom Brady or anything like that. All I think is that he's going to be better than Trubisky. And the games last year that Trubisky lost, I think Nick Foles could win.
I agree. I think, I think Nick Foles is definitely a major step up from Trubisky. I do think Trubisky is going to start because, the Bears want their young guy in to develop. I mean, how many years do you need to develop, though? Like, at a certain point, you need to be developed.
This is definitely a last-ditch effort. I mean, the Bears gave away a lot to get Trubisky. Now they're willing to pay – actually, I'm taking that back. They're willing to overpay a dude who is realistically only going to – drive the competition with Trubisky. What I think, though, is that I don't care if Nick Foles is the one that starts and he's not amazing. What I care more about is Trubisky staying out of the game and getting mad. Because what I know the Bears are going to do is they're going to put Trubisky in first, and he's not going to be good. Because that's always the way the Bears have been. They don't care about, who actually who could do better. They care about their franchise guy. Like, the one that's going to lead them, and, they want to give him experience. But, at the end of the day, Trubisky has had a lot of experience. He hasn't done much with it. And I think that if they put in Nick Foles first, he can actually piss off Trubisky and, try and get him moving, say, win the job back. But the Bears are going to put in Trubisky first, and it's going to be like a spoiled child thing. It's going to be, he's had the job for so long. Foles is going to become – because – this is what I think is going to happen. This is what I would like to happen. But, yeah, I actually see – the way I was thinking about it, I actually see Foles as kind of like a reliever quarterback for Trubisky. I think that's the way the Bears want to use him. They want to put in Trubisky first. They want to make him start. And then if he starts pooping the bed, then they're going to throw Foles in there instead.
I absolutely agree. I think that's kind of what you want, though, too. You start Trubisky, give him that last shot to really say, this is my team. I'm gonna lead this team to good places. And if he can't do that, then you got a veteran quarterback with a lot of experience and a Super Bowl to come in and clean that mess up. And you know what? That's what I think will happen. I think Trubisky will start, play a few games, get benched. Foles will come in. I don't think he'll do a whole lot better because, let's face it, from an offensive standpoint, yes, Trubisky's bad, but doesn't have a whole lot to work with.
No, of course not. No, he doesn't.
And Foles won't have anything to work with either. I mean, you guys really don't have any receivers at all, really. Not to, I mean, it's
not to say it in such a casual, fun way, but it's true. You really don't have an offense. You focused all your efforts on the defense. which is funny because I'm pretty sure Nagy is an offensive-minded coach.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like, look at 2018. We didn't really have that many great pieces on offense in 2018. We had Trubisky, who no one really liked at the time, or at least people were like, okay, let's see what he can do. But people kind of didn't trust him yet, and now we've caused not to trust him. Did we have Allen Robinson? I can't remember. We didn't really have. I think we had the one kid from IU, the running back, and he was Jordan Howard, was it? And
Jordan,
yeah, and he was good, and I liked it. But he wasn't like a centerpiece of the team. All of our main pieces, besides Trubisky, if you wanted to call him at the time a piece, like a centerpiece, were on the defense. I mean, I could name off a few, but like I think we all know them. Like the thing is, when you have that good of a defense, you can have a below average offense and still win games. I mean, the Bears are like one of the least fun teams to watch in the entire league because almost all they have a good defense. They always have a good defense. So all of their games are really low scoring. I mean, I pulled up the schedules that they had comparing 2018 to 2019. I mean, if Matt Nagy does his stuff and makes interesting plays that are kind of unexpected, like he did a lot during the 2018 season. They actually, did you know the Bears did the Philly special in 2018?
I think I saw it. Yeah, they tried it.
Yeah, they tried it. But that's the thing. They had stuff going on like that made what we clearly know now to be a very below average offense with a very below average quarterback into an offense in 2018 that was actually pretty good. I mean, they beat the Bills 41-9. The Bucs weren't amazing back then. They beat Bucs 48-10. They didn't have really, even when they lost. I mean, okay, this is a little bit embarrassing. They lost to the Dolphins, but in 2018, they lost. When they lost, they'd score 28, 31, 27 points. And I know that's silly because, that's kind of average for some teams. But when you look at the way they were last year, 3 points. They've got 14 points, 7 points in games, 3 points again. Like, these defenses have held this offense down. And, yeah, our defense slumped a little bit. They're still, like, a pretty good defense. But if 2018's any sort of example, if you put a slightly good offense with this defense, you'll have a fine team. It's going to, okay, granted, we lost in the wild card, but on a stupid field goal. But it's true. Like, we've got a lot of good pieces on defense. If Trubisky could just do better than he did last year, or Foles comes in and does something, I think we could be 10-6.
Yeah, I mean, you if your defense plays as well as it did in the 2018 season,
which I think is super. I think you can do that. I mean, think about last year, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. All I was gonna say was think about last year. The offense sucked. Defense gets tired. Defense starts slumping. Mm-hmm. When you look at 2018, when the offense actually did something, you know what I mean, like contributed to the game at all, the defense is fine because they're not constantly running back out there and doing all the dirty work. Once the offense picks up some of the slack, the defense follows. Plus, if you're on defense and if your offense isn't doing anything, you're not going to be just going to be like, well, we've been out here all game. The offense is not doing anything. We're down by a lot. You're not going to like be nearly as good as if you're like in the game or win. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And look, I think the problem in your 2018 season also was you had poor kicking. That's one big problem you had there, especially in that wild card game. Cody Parkey, legend. But look, you guys can do well. I think first of all Nagy should drop some more plays for Tariq Cohen. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I don't think he's used as much as you could use him. But look, I just don't see. I think I just see the offense hindering the progress of this team. It's just a weak offense, and you're going up against NFC defenses, which are tough, man. You got a lot of tough NFC defenses, even in the division. Like that Vikings defense is gonna be tough to come up against, and the Packers defense too. And the Packers and Vikings just have much better offenses. I could even see Matthew Stafford having a great day against the Bears right now. That's how bad it's become. But look, I think Trubisky will take a step up over last year. I think last year was just abysmal. I think he'll play a little better. I still think this is one of the worst teams in the NFL next year.
Here's my outlook. Hear me out. Hear me out. I'll try and make an argument because I don't disagree. I don't agree to the full extent with you. I think it could be one of the worst teams in the NFL. As a fan, I'm obliged to really try and see the positives here. But
Hope.
like it's trust me, Si, I will say it's getting hard. But hear me out. Here's my argument. I got the schedule for the Bears right here in front of me. I'll read it off as we go through, but I don't know. You want to just work with me? Tell me. I'll share whether I think we're gonna win or lose, and you share whether you think.
Oh, this is fun. Go through the games. All right.
Okay. So first game of the season, we're at the Lions.
At the Lions?
Yes, we're at Ford Field. I think that's an easy win. I think that we haven't lost to the Lions. I can't remember the last time we lost to the Lions, but I think we have a better team than them. I think that they're still pretty crappy, especially. I mean, the Bears, yes, bad season. I get it. Not great. We still beat the Lions twice last year.
I'm going loss.
You're gonna go loss on all of them just to prove your stupid hot take.
No. They might beat the Lions at home.
They got the Lions at home comes later. They're actually not playing the Lions on Thanksgiving. I think that Thanksgiving's got a different game from the Bears and Lions this year. Should be interesting. All right, I'll mark down what you think so I can tell you the record that you think.
Okay, I'm doing that too. You have win week 1 and I have loss. Okay.
Yeah. Second game versus the Giants at Soldier Field. I think that's again easy. I think the first 2 games of the season are easy. The Giants are also one of the worst teams in the NFL.
I'll give you guys a win there.
Yeah. I think that we got that one. Now hear me out. This is where it gets interesting. Because next game's the Falcons. And the thing about the Bears is that any reasonably competent team with more than like 3 pieces has loss written all over it for the Bears. So I think here's what I think. Trubisky's in, Bears lose. If Foles is in, I think they win.
Give me a win or loss.
Oh, if I were to really put money on it, I'd probably say loss.
Okay.
But I have faith if Foles really wants to do anything, about this point in the season is where he's going to have to start making a case for himself, especially if Trubisky's been in and is not doing anything. Even this one, even though, as some of your viewers may know, one of our friends, Ethan, is a huge Colts fan. And as much as I wanted to believe that the Bears would beat the Colts, they're so going to lose that game. It's not even funny.
Oh, yeah, they're going to lose.
That's not a Bears win.
Yeah. What do you got week 5? 5th game.
What's up?
Game 5.
Game 5, the Bucks. I think we pull it out.
Oh, my God.
I think we pull it out, dude. I mean, if I'm going to give the Colts an L, I got to give the Bucks a dub. I think it's at Soldier Field, just like the Colts game, but this isn't one of my hot takes, but a sort of hot take is that I think Tom Brady struggles with the Bucks next year. I think long term, good decision. He'll be fine. Next year, I think it's a completely new look. New people, new coach, completely new setting. I know he's the GOAT. I get that. But I think he struggles next year. And I think that might be one of the games where he actually could show that he's struggling with a new team.
I disagree. I think he's going to be great, but that's a whole nother discussion that I don't know if we have time for today, Mac. But
that's fair. That's
go
fair.
to the next game.
Next game, Panthers. Same thing as I said for the Falcons. If it's Foles, they'll win. If it's Trubisky, they'll lose. I think they'll win that one. I mean, the Panthers they're good, but I think the Bears have a better team overall, frankly.
I'll give you guys a win on that one. The Panthers are also a very questionable team next year, like kind of up in the air.
Yeah. Next 3 games, all losses. They are the Rams, the Saints, and the Titans.
Yeah.
I think that's – I mean, first of all, there's no way we're beating the Saints. Titans is going to be a hard game. Rams I know the Rams aren't great, but – I mean, they're good. They're not great, but I think we'll lose to them too. Vikings, we're winning that one.
Is it a home or away?
It's home.
Well, it doesn't matter because I'm still giving you a loss.
Dude, I was the only reason I say that is last year, even though the Bears sucked, we still beat the Vikings both times, which is surprising considering the Vikings actually did pretty well.
I think the Vikings are going to be a little better than they were last year, though, this year.
Yeah, I think they will too. I still think the Bears are going to beat them in that week.
Okay.
So we got to bye, and then we're obviously going to lose to the Packers because we always lose to the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions at home will win.
I'll give you that one.
Texans, I have win if it's Foles, loss if it's Trubisky. I actually have that for the Vikings too. I think realistically we can beat the Texans. I think we trade. If I'm betting money, I think we trade wins with the Vikings this year, probably.
Is that the next one?
The last two games are at Jaguars and versus Packers.
Oh, so you said the second Vikings game you lose?
Oh yeah, I think because the second one's at it's in Minnesota, so I could see us losing that one. And
Did you say win? Did you say win against Texans?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right.
I'm giving up. I'm being a little bit lenient with the Bears, but I just think that like once the season starts, it'll be a little bit more of a positive outlook. But and we got to get moving. So my next two games are at Jaguars and versus Packers. I think we beat the Jaguars and lose to the Packers.
Yeah, I agree. Jaguars are probably going to be the worst team in the NFL next year. So tallying this up, you got. I think you have them going 8-8.
Yeah.
And I have them going 4-12. That's a very ambitious 4-12 that I'm giving you. You know, I'm giving a little leeway on some of these games.
No, here's the deal. I put W Foles loss for Trubisky against at Falcons, at Panthers versus Texans, and at Vikings. The way I saw it, if they actually use Foles right, and Trubisky really still is kind of what we expect, he's not doing well, I think it's possible. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's possible the Bears go 10-6. I think 10-6 is the best record the Bears could hope for. I don't think it's even possible to go above that, frankly. And then I think worst case scenario, if the Bears are really stubborn and they just decide that Trubisky needs to play all the time, I think they go 6-10.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's a little worse than that, but obviously you have the Bears blood running through your body. So you'll have that opinion. But let's move on. You have your second hot take to give me now. Go for it.
It is actually a Bears hot take, but we don't have to talk about it for too long because I know we got a bunch of NBA stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But all right, I'm just gonna say I think Khalil Mack eventually wins the Super Bowl with the Bears.
With the Bears?
Yeah.
I could see him winning a Super Bowl if he went to another team.
You're not playing very much to my side this podcast, Si. Well, like, think about it. He's got 6 years left on his contract. I looked it up. It could be 4. 4 or 6 years left on his contract. I say the next 2 to 3 years the Bears aren't going to be good. Probably it's going to take them at least 3 years to become notable again. And if you assemble even a little above average, even average offense, I think that Khalil Mack will run with it. I think it would be a shame if that player, that superhuman player, retired without a ring. That would just be
no, exactly, which is why I think he's gonna demand a trade when he realizes how bad of a team he's on, and he's Mac. It's funny because I think this is the most I've ever disagreed with a guest on my podcast, and we're just in like the first half of this podcast. We're not even close to being done yet, but yeah, I think he's gonna demand a trade at some point. But like, yeah, you know what? If you guys can get a competent offense soon. Get an actual quarterback. Yeah, there's no boundary to where this team can go. It's just the problem that you guys make some boneheaded moves up in that front office over there. And hey, granted I can't say much. I'm a Jets fan, but I will say you guys have made some boneheaded moves.
Yeah, I know. Don't look at me, man. I think it's the stupid McClaskeys. Can't wait to get new owners. We're just one of those teams that are waiting in the bubble of like, God, I can't wait for the new owners. Because then we'll actually be good again.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's let's talk NBA. Let's move on to the NBA.
Sure.
One of the biggest pieces of news in the NBA has been this whole NBA jersey message controversy. So as you might know, the NBA in as a way to promote the Black Lives Matter movement and really bring out more involvement in that, has said that they will allow certain jersey messages on the back of players' jerseys that stand with equality. Some of the core messages of the movement, including Black Lives Matter, I can't breathe. Some of these other quotes that people have said. But and this happened last week. The senator of Missouri, Senator Josh Hawley, came out and said that the NBA shouldn't restrict the messages that they have. They should have other messages like support the troops and back the blue. And then Adrian Wojnarowski, the ESPN reporter, emailed the senator saying, fuck you. And now he's suspended. Give me your thoughts on this, Mac. This is a crazy whirlwind of events here.
Well, I can say that hearing that news story, like, at the beginning of the year would have been, I'd be like, what is going to go on in 2020? That is just a crazy news story. Well, in response to specifically talking about Woj, I would say, like, I mean, I'm on his side. I agree. Like, why would you go to the NBA saying stuff like that? Out of all, like, the sports, out of all the places that you could actually, like, think about changing jerseys or changing some sort of representation of the organization to something like support the troops or back the blue or blah, blah, blah. Why the NBA? That doesn't make very much sense to me. Now, I'll say, too, I think maybe Woj's response was a little bit unprofessional. Like, he could have made it. I mean, he just said, fuck you. I thought it was funny. But, like, it could have, it is a senator, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. It always pays dividends to be respectful. So I do have to say that, like, could have been a little bit more professional. But in terms of the controversy at hand, it really just boils down to, like, whether you think that, like, there should be more representation of politics in sports or not. Like, this is one of those issues that I kind of see both sides of. Like, on one hand, I believe, like, okay, free speech. Therefore, you should be able to put whatever you want on your jersey. If you want it to be your name, be it your name. If you want to make it Black Lives Matter or even back the blue, whatever, fine, put it on your jersey. But on the same hand of the other token, or same hand of the other token, on the other hand, I also think that a lot of people watch sports to kind of get away from all that, especially in the world we live in. Like, that's why people are so excited to have sports back. It's kind of like a release. And then you go into it, and it's just kind of, instead of being like a release or an escape, it's just throwing you right back into the whole, like, loop of politics and news stories and, what's going on in the world and what's can be kind of stressful. I see that point too. Some people don't want to deal with that when they're watching basketball because it's about the game. I could also see players saying, like, okay, well, it's not about that. It's about the game. I could also see the other players saying, well, they have this platform, so they want to be able to use it. When it all comes down to it, I think it's free speech. You should be able to do it because it's your jersey and it's your platform. You should be able to make it what you want. That being said, I don't fully disagree with people who say, like, oh, I want to watch sports, or players who say I want to play the game and not be distracted by, what's on the back of people's jerseys or what's going on in the world. They want to treat it more like an escape. I see both sides.
Yeah. Well, what I see in this is, like, from Senator Hawley's point of view. And first of all, you were talking about Woj and respect for a senator. I don't know if all senators need to have our respect. All politicians need to have our respect. It's a dirty field. There's a lot of dirty, crooked people in that field. But I will say this. I think there's just a lot of ignorance involved. Like, you can say support the troops, back the blue. Like, I understand you're Republican, you're a conservative, that's your opinion. Like, but you're clearly, your target market in these statements is you really haven't read the room properly. Like, it's very ignorant in who you're trying to reach with this. These are NBA players. These are Black Americans who have had experiences and difficulties of racism that you have not dealt with, Senator Hawley. So I don't know how you can sit there and say back the blue when you don't understand why that can be seen as controversial, seen as problematic by people who have suffered from the hands of police and police brutality. So I think that from that aspect, it's just ignorant. Look, I don't think there should be restrictions on what you can wear on the back of your jersey like the NBA says there are right now. I don't think there should be. And if a player wants to wear back the blue, so be it. But if a player wants to wear back the blue, he's going to need to be ready for the wave of negativity that he's about to receive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. That is the way you talk about Senator Hawley. That is something I didn't think about. I have to say I just believe in like kind of being the bigger person in that sense. Like, yes, it is really ignorant to say that to those people, especially. That is something that, and I think I mentioned that. Like, I agree. Like, that is just stupid. Like you said, read the room, man. Like, you're not talking to the people who that's going to resonate with, and if you are, then you know the majority of the population or of the community in the NBA is not going to like that specific person that message resonates with. So I get that. I guess by respect, I just mean like, look, Senator from Missouri, I'm probably not a huge fan of him either. But that being said, maybe like when I am on Woj's side, but like you can't just like say fuck you to a senator and expect nothing to happen. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna get pissed, especially if it's like a high profile thing like this. I mean, I think he's gonna be back in not that long. And frankly, if you feel strongly enough about a certain opinion and you want to go out and say that to somebody where it's going to cause trouble and you're going to kind of, it's going to be in the media and stuff like that, maybe you're okay with it if the only punishment you get is a small suspension.
Yeah, I don't think he's bothered too much by the suspension.
No, exactly.
Like because he's gotten a wave of support from the players, a wave of support from the NBA community, who support what he did. So I don't think he apologized, of course, because you have to, but I don't think he's having any problems with what he did. I think he stands by it.
Okay, but I agree with Woj's move. I just think maybe it could have been a little bit more explanatory than just F you. That's my one thing. I agree with him. I think Senator Hawley is way more out of line, frankly, for doing that. And I have been seeing some things about the wave of support that he's gotten from the community. It's just my opinion that like maybe try and like explain it or like do something a little bit more open-minded than just straight up cursing him out and walking away. I think that's a little bit blunt, but that's just my opinion. I'm obviously someone who's never had to deal with being offended by seeing messages like back the blue or having stuff like that affect my daily life. So if I did have that in my life, then there's potential that I would see the situation in a different light. I just think, like I said, maybe Woj should have like put together an actual email rather than just saying fuck you and walking away.
Yeah, he could have handled it with a little more grace. It was emotion over thought type of situation. I don't think you can really blame him though. Because
no,
yeah.
I'm not blaming him.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a big topic right now, and it'll be interesting to see what all the players decide to do. Some players are deciding to wear messages. Some players are deciding to wear nothing and some players are just going to go with their name and find another way to contribute to the movement. But I think it's really big that the NBA as a sports league, and you don't really see sports leagues going into politics too much, but you see, but the NBA is standing behind what the players want. It's a player-driven league, and you see what the players want and how much it means to the players that the NBA is standing with them. So I think that's a incredible move by Adam Silver. But moving on, I want to go to my second hot take. We're gonna start really getting into the NBA here, Mac. We've really been serving up these appetizers for all the fans here of the podcast, and now we're getting into the main course, the feast de resistance.
I'm ready for it, Si.
My second hot take: Anthony Davis will be more important than LeBron for the Lakers in the bubble.
Wow, that goes directly against what I'm about. What like my whole top 10 player thing is. That's nuts, dude. That is a very hot take. I completely disagree.
Well, I'm not saying. Look, I have LeBron higher than Anthony Davis on the top 10 list that we're gonna do later. I'm saying for the team, he's going to be more important for their overall success because you know what you're getting from LeBron. He's gonna be the floor general. He's gonna dictate the way the team plays. He's the leader of that team. But Anthony Davis is a monster. He's going to be
I'm not denying it.
He's going to be the guy who can give you 30, 35 points every single game. He's going to be a matchup nightmare for all of the bigs that go up against him. And I think if you have LeBron, you're a good team. But having Anthony Davis is that X factor that takes you to championship level where teams are not going to want to play you late in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally agree with that, actually. I agree with that part. I mean, you can't deny that LeBron and Anthony Davis is, like, probably the best power duo in the entire league at the moment. Mm-hmm. They're incredible. I mean, LeBron, arguably one of the best players of all time, and Anthony Davis, a little bit younger, but, like, still an absolute monster who's just starting to blaze his career and make – even more and more of a name for himself, more and more of an argument for how he's going to be a fantastic player in the future. I just disagree. I'll talk about it more later when we get into our top 10 players thing. But I trust me, I love Anthony Davis. I just think that like LeBron is going to take an opportunity here. LeBron's got an opportunity in the bubble. People have been waiting for sports. People want sports. It's going to be interesting to see because, like, even when it's still technically the regular season, they haven't gotten to the playoffs yet. Are teams going to treat those games like playoff games? Are they going to go all in? I mean, they're doing this whole bubble thing. You would think they would. And if that is true and a level of play is elevated, I think LeBron takes this opportunity and makes a statement for himself.
No, I think LeBron will be great. Don't get me wrong. The way I see it is, and I don't have the Lakers winning the championship, and I'll get to that later, but I just see it as if the Lakers do win the championship, I would see Anthony Davis winning Finals MVP. I think he's going to average more points. He's just going to be a monster throughout the playoffs. That's the difference I'm seeing. I think both of them are very important to the team. Don't get me wrong. And LeBron is one of the greatest players of all time, and arguably, he's not my MVP, but he's definitely in that conversation. But Anthony Davis, I think we're going to see a whole new side of him because when he was on the Pelicans, we weren't seeing him in the playoffs all the time. He didn't have the guys around him to really propel him into that contender type of team role. But now that he's on that type of team, I think he's going to be more motivated than ever. I think he's going to come into the bubble with something to prove. And my God, watch out for Anthony Davis in this bubble is that's what I think.
Very interesting. Well, should we get since we're already talking about Anthony Davis? Should we get into our top 10?
Yeah, let's do it. So I think how we should do it is we'll each give we'll each go back and forth on each number. Like we'll start at 1, and then we'll just compare and contrast from there, and we'll see where the conversation goes.
Oh, we're starting at 1?
Yeah, because I think there'll be like. If we start at 1, I think it'll be better because if we start at 10, there's no like. It's not like who are you putting him in front of or behind type of.
Yeah. Sure, I like that. Okay. Well, who's your number one?
Giannis.
Giannis?
Yeah.
Very interesting. I had Giannis at 1 pretty much the entire time I was making this list, and then I switched it. I'm going LeBron, dude. Okay. I'm going LeBron. That was what I was saying. I don't need to say it again, but like I think that the bubble's the perfect opportunity for LeBron to actually make a statement, and I think he will. I mean, that's coming from a guy who doesn't really like LeBron very much, frankly. I think that if I was putting my money on it, I say LeBron just absolutely demolishes the rest of the league.
Okay, I think LeBron will be great, but oh my God, Giannis is a monster, dude. Giannis is averaging like 30 and 13 this season, and that's in the regular season. Obviously the Bucks played hard in the regular season, but he's the MVP, man. He won MVP last year. He's probably gonna win it again this year. Back-to-back MVPs likely. Like he's gonna come. I mean, sure, I think LeBron might have might play amazingly in the bubble, but heading into the bubble, I just don't think you can put anyone above Giannis. I think he's just his body of work over the last 2 seasons has been the best in the NBA.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that. Frank, I didn't really want to put Giannis first. I just get this vibe. I think I can't say that he's not going to be good because obviously he's going to be incredible. I think where I was coming from was more of the idea that like, okay, I know LeBron has an amazing resume, but if he really wants to put a stamp on it, you know, like he's got a lot of really great stuff, but if he wants to, in the future, if he wants to still be in the conversation, people like Jordan, I think that he needs to stamp it somehow. And I see him doing that with the Lakers. I actually see him going above Giannis just for the bubble period to make that statement. And then he's going to be in that conversation again, like I said, with Jordan and with some of the other best players of all time. However, if he doesn't do that, then I don't know. I don't think that there really will be anything to keep him in that conversation. I mean, obviously there's a lot, but when you're comparing him to the likes of like Jordan or some of the other best players of all time, I think that he might, if he were to end his career now, I don't think he would be top 3, in my opinion. So if he goes in this bubble and really makes a statement for himself, I think that he could make a huge difference. And I think that he could be, if he really wanted to be, a little bit better than Giannis.
Look, where I'm coming from with this, I think the Lakers are a bit better contenders than the Bucks for the title. I think
really?
LeBron has yeah. I actually don't have the Bucks going to the finals. I'm coming from it from a standpoint of, because I think teams might be able to stop the Bucks because you just have to crowd the paint, and then you have to make someone else beat you. And the problem with the Bucks is Giannis is your only superstar. On the Lakers, you have LeBron and AD. Rockets have Russell Westbrook and James Harden. You know, a lot of these teams have multiple threats. You know, Chris Middleton can only do so much. But what I'm saying is the Bucks are contenders. The Bucks are still contenders even despite that, because Giannis is an out of this world talent. He's better than everyone else in my opinion. That's why it's the problem is that you don't have somebody else.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I was thinking about that while I was making this list too. Trust me, like when I was writing it down to like actually be like, okay, these are gonna be the top 10 players, I literally wrote in Giannis before I even got a list out to like draw from. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But then I don't know. I just think we're gonna get playoff LeBron. I think we're gonna get. Honestly, I could even go as far as saying I think we're gonna get playoff LeBron 2.0, and it's going to be unbelievable. And I mean, Giannis has been amazing in the playoffs, but in the past, but I still think playoff LeBron is better than playoff Giannis.
I agree with that, because we haven't seen it from Giannis in the playoffs yet. One thing that and trust me, I know that the both of us have Giannis, LeBron, 1, 2, whatever way we have it.
Giannis is my number 2.
LeBron's my number 2. And so I think we can just move to number 3 after this. But what I see is LeBron's 35. He's getting a lot older, and he's still playing great at the age of 35. But when you're 35, your body needs more time to get into that basketball shape to really start putting those numbers up and really start playing well. That's why LeBron, you don't see LeBron putting up crazy numbers at the start of the season. He's not playing amazingly at the start of the season. Once the end of the regular season comes in and the playoffs come in, that's when he starts playing well. So a big break like this might actually be detrimental to LeBron.
You could be right. I mean, Giannis is obviously going to be ready to go. You could just tell. He's going to be easily number 1 or number 2 best player in the league. I mean, and I very well could be eating my words in a month. I could so see being completely wrong, and Giannis is just clearly the best player. Maybe the Bucks don't make it that far because obviously outside of him and Chris Middleton, they don't really have too many other pieces. So I agree with you in that regard too. I don't know. I'm getting this feeling that this is going to be like you're going to remember this bubble because of LeBron going off. That's all I'll say.
Definitely could happen. It's LeBron. I mean, you can't count LeBron out ever. But like those two guys are the best 2 in the league, and it's like that's pretty much knowing that going into the bubble now. Like it's always Bucks, Lakers were the best teams in each of the conferences. Will they meet in the finals? I don't know. I'm thinking against it. But moving on, what's your number 3?
Kawhi.
Okay, I
have things a little. I have James Harden at number 3.
James Harden's my number 4.
Kawhi's my number 4.
That's nuts. That's actually nuts. So I'll put Kawhi above James Harden. Simply on the grounds that – sorry, I'm playing with my watch while we're talking. Simply on the grounds that, like, playoff Kawhi is so much better than playoff James Harden. It's almost, like, not even funny. Like, when Kawhi brings it out in the playoffs – I mean, you saw it last year. He's reigning champ still. I mean, and then you get James Harden in the playoffs, and he's usually pretty decent. But I feel like I haven't seen James Harden in the playoffs play the same way he plays in the regular season. He'll put up, like, average 40, 35 points in the regular season, like 30 on a bad night. And then the regular season, like, I don't know, it seems like he kind of changes his strategy a little bit. He's not nearly as, putting up as many points. What do you think?
I think look, what I see from it is, like, in the playoffs, like, teams are, like, triple teaming him. Yeah, I mean, like, it's and he'll pass the ball and he'll try to create opportunities for his teammates, but his teammates aren't gonna make everything they take. Like 2018, you look at it, they were Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors. Chris Paul was out Game 6 and 7, and they went 0 for 27 from 3.
Did they?
Granted, yeah, they should have won the game. Granted, Harden probably didn't have a great game, but, like, none of his teammates did either. It's the fact that I don't think he has choked. He's had bad playoff performances, don't get me wrong. But if you looked at the last couple of years, he's still consistently put up, like, 30-point games. It's just the fact that you have to go through the Warriors every single year. And trust me, that's a tough feat to the Warriors have been to 5 straight finals, and who did they lose to? The Cavs, that one year when LeBron just put up an out-of-this-world finals performance. And the second time was last year against the Raptors when Kevin Durant was out. Klay Thompson was out. Boogie Cousins was out. Like, all of these guys were out. It was just Steph and Draymond. And you have Kawhi, Pascal Siakam, and a complete Raptors team. The thing with Kawhi that we are learning this year is that the Raptors, it wasn't all Kawhi. The Raptors have a great team outside of that. Pascal Siakam is great. Kyle Lowry is one of the most underappreciated point guards in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
You
agree
got
with that.
Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol. You have a complete team. That's why they were able to stop Giannis in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, because they had so much size and depth that if one player's off, just give it to another player. Like their 8-man rotation in the playoffs, all of the guys could contribute something big. And the last thing I'll add with that, James Harden will play all 82 games in the regular season, and sometimes that'll burn you out in the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard will play like 50 to 60 games, so sure, he might have a little more energy in the playoffs, but that changes this year. Everyone has the same amount of rest as Kawhi. James Harden is rested now. That is something we have not seen in the playoffs ever.
Fair. I mean, trust me, I like James Harden better as a player. I'm not a huge fan of the what was the thing that called load management?
The load managing bitch.
I wasn't a fan of that, but I just think when he actually pulls it out, he gets the job done. I mean, yeah, it wasn't just Kawhi on the Raptors, but it's also not just Kawhi on the Clippers too. I mean, you got Paul George, you got a few other pieces that are going to make a difference, and I think they could help him out in the sense of like pump his numbers up a little bit. I mean, granted, I love Paul George. I don't know if I'd take the combo of Paul George and Kawhi over the combo of James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
No, absolutely not.
It's not like a Bucks with Kawhi Leonard. It's a Clippers with Kawhi Leonard. He's got pieces. He's got people that can give him the ball, that he can, give the ball to, get his numbers up a little bit, people to work around. I don't know, and then you throw playoffs in the whole formula. I think you got a good Kawhi. That's my opinion. Who's your number 5?
I got Anthony Davis.
That's who I have too.
Yeah, he's unstoppable.
Oh yeah, he's unbelievable. I wanted to put him 3. I just put Kawhi and James Harden in front of him. I'm sure, as you can agree, just because like, not only do I want to see James Harden be better, just like how you were saying he's going to be rested, but I also, as much as I love Anthony Davis, I don't completely take Anthony Davis over playoff Kawhi.
I also don't take Anthony Davis over guys who are MVP caliber players who are the number one option on their team, because Anthony Davis, we saw him as a number one option. It didn't really work out on the Pelicans. So he's a perfect number 2, but I can't take him over James Harden and Kawhi, who have proved that they can be great as the top option on their team.
Yeah, I agree.
Who do you have as number 6?
Luka Doncic.
Okay. I have Luka in my top 10, but I have Dame number 6.
Did you have Luka at number 7?
Yes.
I had Dame at number 7. That's nuts, dude. I'm not kidding. I'm looking at this right now. I can't make this up. I had Luka at number 6 and Dame number 7. All right, well, yeah. I started the Anthony Davis Kawhi or not Anthony Davis, James Harden Kawhi argument. What's your argument for putting Dame in front of Luka?
Bigger sample size. I think he's just been so great for so long and so underappreciated. And you have to respect the fact that he's just stayed on this Trailblazers team for so long. Even though the team is going nowhere, but he just keeps getting better and better each year, and he's just not seen. Like, we don't really recognize his accomplishments as much as we do other players, but I really think he is one of the best players in the league.
Oh, I agree with that. You give him pieces to work with, that would be a championship level team. If you gave him like, I don't know, someone. If you had like Anthony Davis and Damian Lillard, that would be a championship, at least at least conference finals caliber team.
Oh yeah. And the only reason I put Luka a little lower is he's only been in the league for 2 years. Sure, he's an MVP candidate, but there are certain negative aspects to his game. He's a great scorer, great passer, even a good rebounder. He's a triple-double machine on a lot of nights. But he's very turnover prone, and he also does not really play defense. I think Dame is much more all-rounded player, and we've just seen more from him. He's played in the playoffs before. He went to the Western Conference Finals last year. Do not forget. Luka's coming into his first playoffs, so it's crazy that we put Luka in the top 10 players in the NBA, and he has not even played the playoffs yet. So that itself, I think, is amazing. But I mean, it's easy to flip flop those two. I think they're both really good.
Yeah, I don't really have a huge argument, to be honest, because I guess I was just thinking about the fact that Luka doesn't. Who's on his team? Who's on the Mavs? It's him and Porzingis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then does he have anybody else to work with? I can't remember.
He's got Hardaway Jr., but not a whole lot. They got good solid role players. I mean, they have a good record, but I think if Porzingis really gets really steps his game up, it's his first year coming back after a long injury. If he really starts stepping his game up and getting back to the level that he was at before, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be a great team. That's kind of why I put him higher than Dame, because Dame doesn't really have anything, and I feel like even though the NBA is a very individual league, you can still be a great player, and he is a fantastic player. But Dame would be potentially top 5, maybe even top 4 if he actually had another player to work with. Because then you get another player in the mix, you might score a little bit less, but you're still going to it'll elevate your game too, because then you can you have more people to create more options, you run the floor better, blah, blah, blah. I could keep talking about that, but I just don't think he has that, which is why I put Luka up a little bit higher. I think that Luka has a better team around him. I think they're pretty similar in how I would rank them.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, they're interchangeable, but
yeah.
I put Luka a little bit higher just because of the team he's around.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And I guess I'm looking at it from more of a lens of not whose team has a better shot. I look at it more from the lens of who adds more value to their team. And I think Dame is just slightly above Luka in that regard. But yeah, he just needs more on his team, man. I think Nurkic might be coming back, so that might help them play a little better. But I think the problem is still the same. CJ McCollum as a number 2 option reminds me a lot of Chris Middleton as a number 2 option. Can be great, really good, consistent, solid. Can be great at times, but you take Dame out of the game or you take Giannis out of the game, no shot.
Oh, no shot at all. You get Dame injured, you get Giannis injured, the team all of a sudden slumps,
Yeah. Who's your number 8?
Who's my number 8? I got Nikola Jokic.
That's exactly who I have.
That's nuts. That's stupid.
We have very similar lists, but just a couple interchangeable guys.
Not too much of an argument there. I think he's just an absolute beast, and he's really going to help out Nuggets a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he got skinny too. He
Did
lost
he really?
a lot of weight. He lost a lot of weight.
Good for him.
He lost a lot of weight and also got the coronavirus.
Oh, he did? I didn't know he got the coronavirus. That's nuts.
He got the coronavirus, and then he missed. I think he recovered, but then missed his flight back to go into the bubble. So he might still be stranded in Serbia. I don't know all the details, but
gotcha.
Yeah.
Speaking of weight, didn't Luka Doncic get fat?
I don't know if he got fat. I think he got a little out of shape. But I mean, I don't think it really matters too much because his game was a lot of finesse rather than it was skill mostly rather than just he didn't use it. His physique, I never really saw his physique helping him all that much. I mean, he's tall, but he didn't look unbelievably skinny even before.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Who's your number 9?
Oh, I'm going with Siakam.
Okay. Now we're getting now we're getting a little different here.
Okay, sure.
I love the number 9 Siakam pick. I went with Russell Westbrook.
Interesting. Okay. So tell me why. I mean, we could talk about Westbrook for days, but what puts him at number 9 for you?
I think he's just had an unbelievably resurgent season, dude. Like last couple seasons on the Thunder, he was probably like outside the top 10, maybe not even in the top 15 for me. Like he wasn't playing that well. He's had an unbelievable resurgent season. He's averaging like 29 points this season, dude. Like
Wait. Go back. On the Thunder, wasn't he averaging a triple-double?
he was averaging a triple double, but he wasn't. I mean, they weren't winning a whole lot at all.
No, they weren't. Well, they weren't really winning, but he was averaging a triple-double, which is nuts.
Yeah, but the thing is, on the Thunder, it was like he was going for triple doubles. Like that's all he was trying to do, really. Like, and points wise, he wasn't scoring as many points. Yeah, he was averaging a triple double, which he's not doing this season, but he's still pretty close to it. But he's averaging like 29 points. And like you really see when first half of the season, Harden was averaging like close to 40 points. Westbrook was still kind of learning the system and kind of trying to figure out what his role was on the team. Second half of the season, Harden's in a little bit of a slump. I don't think Harden was really that much of in that much of a slump. I think he was just like, I'm gonna rest a little bit and let Russ, carry some of the load. And oh my God, Russ just took over. Like he started just taking over in the second half of the season. Everyone was like, "Is Russ the best player on this team?" No, but like I think he's just had an incredible season this year, and I think I put that as the second. I put that really just up there with LeBron and AD.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, both guys are MVPs, man. Like you can't count them out. Like if one of them's having an okay game, the other one just goes off. It's just that's the thing. Like they're so dynamic, both of them, that it's just so you can never count them out. But I do love your Siakam pick, and I want to hear more about that.
I mean, is he going to win Most Improved Player or something? I really hope he does.
He already did last year.
He did last year. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, that's a perfect thing when we were talking about Kawhi earlier with, it wasn't just Kawhi. I mean, you see that now. I was actually surprised. I guess maybe I just forgot or I didn't realize, but the Raptors are they're a 2 seed,
Mm-hmm.
So, like, at the end of the day, that's Siakam, man. I mean, it's not just Siakam. There's a lot of players that contributed. I mean, I like Fred VanVleet a lot. I like Kyle Lowry, obviously, like you said, most underrated player. But Siakam, I think, is the new face of the team, and he's killing it. Like he's been a great player throughout the year. I think that it's good to have a player that can settle into that role. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I want to keep – part of the reason why I put him at number 9 is I want to see him continue improving. I want to see him come back and, like, lead the Raptors to potentially another really deep playoff run. And I think they have all the pieces in place to do that. So not only will Siakam have more opportunities to show how good he is, but I think that overall he just naturally has become better since last season. He's not as good as Kawhi, but he's still a very solid choice. And I think he could himself – I got the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that's not – Eastern – I think that's – I don't know if it's easy, but again, bet man, I'd put money on that.
I think they're great. I think the Raptors are great, and people have been underrating them this season. I don't know if I don't see them in the Eastern Conference Finals because I like my Celtics a lot this year, but dude, Siakam's a star, dude. He's averaging like 24, 25 points already this season. And the one knock I have on Siakam is just that I don't know if he's ready yet for you to give him the ball at the end of the game in a playoff game, like consistently. I think he can win you games. I don't know if he's ready to do it consistently yet, but that'll be really fun and interesting to see this playoffs. What's your number 10?
All right, this is hard for me because there were 3 players that I was really thinking about for number 10. I'll start by saying I didn't put Russ in my top 10. I made him an honorable mention.
I also have I also have a few honorable mentions.
Really, realistically, dude, if it was a 12-person list, I would have put these two on. But my honorable mentions are Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook.
Oh wow, Bradley Beal's great. Yeah,
He's not on the best team. They're in the bubble, which is nice, but like he's unbelievable. He's averaging like 30.4 points. I think there's only one player. I think it's Giannis, or no, it's James Harden. James Harden's the only one who averages more points a game than Bradley Beal, which is nuts. And Russ, obviously, is Russ. But for number 10 for me, I'm going Donovan Mitchell.
okay, all right.
What's the end of your list looking like?
Embiid.
Embiid. Wow. I like Embiid.
I had my honorable mentions were Siakam, Paul George, and Jason Tatum.
Okay, interesting. I like Jason Tatum a lot. I was debating putting him in. And Paul George is obviously very, very good. I might consider him. I guess I didn't really think too much about him. I could have put him in honorable mentions. I love Donovan Mitchell. Young, up-and-coming talent on a really good team. I don't know. Maybe he wants to make a statement. Maybe he never passes Rudy Gobert the ball the entire bubble and just goes off.
That would be hilarious, man. It'd be fitting. It
would be.
I think Donovan's has a little bit of a ways to go. I think we've seen some great playoff performances from him. But I just don't know if he's ready to like take over and like, cause like I see a guy like Jason Tatum a little bit of above him, honestly, because I think Jason Tatum, with his talent, his skill, and his team, I think he has the potential to win now. And see, Embiid I just have because dude's a fucking monster.
Yeah. Oh my God. 100%.
I don't see the Sixers doing too well in the playoffs. I think they're a first round exit actually, but yeah, Embiid's great. That's all I have to say about him. Like, he's just great.
What do you think about Ben Simmons?
He's good, but unless he starts shooting the ball more, I think you're gonna have some problems.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. A lot of people don't like him very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I definitely see why, but they're moving him to power forward now, so that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think that's a better idea than where he was. But
yeah.
Anyways, that's so funny that our lists were that similar. I mean, it's kind of to be expected because I think that the top 8 really I can't really think of another player, no matter how you want to like put the rankings of the top 8, which is LeBron, Giannis, Kawhi, Harden, Davis, Doncic, Lillard, and Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
I think no matter how you want to rank them, doesn't matter. I think that those are the 8 best players in the league, though, or at least the 8 best that are going into the bubble. I don't think there's too much of a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Luka. Luka would be the one that I would be like, because he's so young. Maybe in a little bit he'll kind of start to plateau a little bit in his talent, or maybe he got fat. You never know.
You never know, dude. You absolutely never know. But we're gonna move on. We got still some more stuff to talk about. Give me your third hot take.
My third hot take.
Yeah.
All right. I think at the end of the bubble or whenever they decide to do like the free agency, however that's gonna work, I have no idea. I think Anthony Davis is gonna sign with the Bulls.
Why?
I love that reaction. Well, okay. Hear me out. First off, he's from Chicago, and he has expressed interest in playing in that city. He loves Chicago. And he was saying, I saw some video of him, doing like – he was back in Chicago. I think he quarantined actually in Chicago. I'm not sure though. But he was back in Chicago a few months ago, and he was doing like a small kind of socially distanced press conference for whatever – I can't remember what it was. But he said – someone asked him like, hey – what are you thinking for like the end of the year? Because like everybody just assumes he's going to go back to the Lakers. And they asked him, like, what do you have any plans to like come to the Bulls? And he goes like, oh well, my contract's up this year. You never know. So hey, that's something. That's something.
That's him basically just saying anything could happen. He would say that if any team, he would say that if someone from the Suns asked him, hey, you want to come play for the Suns? Oh, you never know. You know, my contract is up at the end of this year. I will say, if he went to the Bulls, he would be sacrificing all possible hopes for a championship.
That is not true, dude. I don't think that's true at all. Chicago's a huge market. There's a lot of young, talented players right there right now. Storied franchise, especially after like the Last Dance and stuff. And it'd be his team. I mean, like, I know we were talking about the Pelicans earlier. Didn't really work out. Now he's been playing with LeBron for a bit. He's got a little bit more experience. He's an older player, more talented than he was. You put him on the Bulls with Kobe White, with Zach LaVine, with Markkanen. I think they could be like a 3, 4, 5 seed playoff team. Kobe White is up and coming. Zach LaVine would be a solid number 2. I actually think that the combo of Zach LaVine and Anthony Davis would be a better combo than Giannis and Chris Middleton. I'll say that as like a second hot take.
I disagree with that. I think Chris Middleton's better than Zach LaVine, but
I don't know, man.
But no, I mean, look, I just don't think if the Lakers have a clear championship shot to win this year, and sure, if they win, I definitely don't see Anthony Davis leaving. But even if they're like close, I still don't see him leaving because, look, I think he might stay for like 2 more, sign like a 2-year deal with the Lakers again because that's just like a duo like that could win like 2 or 3 multiple championships in the next couple of years. Bulls is like that's a hot take.
It'd be his team, man. It'd be a big market. I know they suck, but like, okay, fine. We'll make it a little less hot. We'll make it a cold take. 2 years down the road, say the Lakers win at the end of this year, win at the end of next year. LeBron, LeBron either retires, goes to a different team, maybe stays the Lakers. LeBron retires or goes to a different team. I think it's entirely possible that Anthony Davis leaves and goes to the Bulls. And then after they've won a few rings, or even if they don't win at all, I think actually there's more of a chance that he does it if they don't win at all. But it would be his team, huge storied franchise. Kobe White is going to be a solid player in like 2 years. He's going to be a very good player. Zach LaVine still probably going to be good. If Markkanen is going to be interesting. I think if he continues to work on his game. I mean, 2 years ago he was pretty good. Last year didn't really do too much. I think if he works on his game and kind of gets into the team rhythm, he could definitely do it. I think that if Anthony Davis came, that'd be a great front court, him and Lauri Markkanen. But I don't know. That's my hot take. I think that easy that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, never say never. I definitely will give you that.
Maybe not easy it happens, but yeah.
No, definitely never say never in my opinion. But we don't have a whole lot of time left. So quickly we're just going to go through like some of the players if we think they're Hall of Fame or not. We're going to run this a little quicker though. LeBron obviously yes.
Yeah. No, he's Hall of Fame already. If he retired right now, he would still be Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I want to go with like some of the older players. I think guys like Giannis are still too young for us to really say. But like so we're talking like Kevin Durant. I think if he retired right now, he'd be a Hall of Famer too.
How many? So he's got 3 rings, right?
He's got 2.
2. Yeah, because he wasn't the original. Okay. I say,
dude,
yeah.
you gotta think about it. Like Vince Carter is a Hall of Famer. He just retired. Vince Carter is probably going to be a Hall of Famer. So when you compare it to like something like that, Allen Iverson never won a ring, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Okay, I know rings aren't like you're definitely going to be in the like you don't need a ring to be in the Hall of Fame. I would say if we just like look at Kevin Durant right now, I'm saying yes. I think that he definitely could make it. I don't think that there are a ton of players in the league though that haven't won a ring that I think I would say would be in the Hall of Fame, if that makes sense. Like Kawhi, I think Kawhi would be in the Hall of Fame. He's won a ring.
Yeah.
James Harden is an interesting one because, okay, yeah, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
James Harden is definitely a Hall of Fame. James Harden could go down as like, if he doesn't win a ring, James Harden could go down as the greatest player to never win a ring. Like in that conversation with like Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, type of guys.
Okay, you're right.
What about and now we're getting like a Chris Paul.
He did win a ring, right?
No,
he didn't. You're right. Shoot.
He's never been to the NBA Finals.
Damn.
Him and Carmelo I put in the same category of maybe. I think just because of their body of work and like their longevity, especially Chris Paul's longevity, I think you have to put him in there. But
it's arguable. I think you're right in terms of longevity. That makes it interesting. If I were to like give a definitive answer, I'd say no.
Mm-hmm.
But I could definitely understand an argument for yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'd say yes. Just because I think a lot of these guys, like even Russ, is like fringe probably MVP. Like it's a lot. It's not easy to make it into the Hall of Fame by any means, but there's a lot of guys like Yao Ming and like Tracy McGrady, a lot of guys who've never won rings, and had solid careers, and they made the Hall of Fame. Last one that I want to talk about, a little younger than some of these other guys, Kyrie Irving.
No.
Yeah, I agree that not yet, I would say.
Well, he's got to do, I don't want to say a lot, but he's got to do more before I start putting him in. I start thinking of him as that. I mean, he's got to fix his locker room presence, man. That's the biggest thing,
He won't win if he doesn't fix that. It'll help to have KD on the team next year, but ever since he left the Cavs, hasn't had a great body of work. Been hurt a lot. Only problems is what you hear from Kyrie Irving since he left the Bulls.
It's sad. I remember he was on my fantasy team, and I was pretty into it because I got him like in a later round, and then he started picking up and playing more, and then he got injured, and he kept saying like I couldn't find anything online for when he was going to come back, and I think that there were reports before the whole coronavirus thing was big and took up the entire news. There were reports that he had mental health issues, and they were calling it something to like not bring attention to it, not trying to get media attention. I'm not sure how true that is, but it does make me a little sad because, he's such a good player. He's arguably the best ball handler in the league, out of current players, I think.
Yeah, he's one of the best guys in the league for sure, and when he's healthy, he's a top 10 player. It's just the fact that like he's so shaky and inconsistent. Like you never know what you're gonna get, and like for a team, it's just right now it's not a great investment to get Kyrie Irving on your team because you don't know what's gonna happen. And that's what happened with the Celtics, and I am so much happier as a Celtics fan with Kemba Walker now.
Well, yeah, but you guys have Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum to fall back on. Look at the Nets. I mean, they fall back on Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant, like last season, didn't play at all because he was injured. Like, team sucks. But
yeah,
All I will say about Kyrie though is I think that, and again, I don't know how true this is, but I think that based on what I've seen in some news articles that I've read, that he it might be like mental health issues. And it makes sense too, because like apparently he's not great in locker room. He's kind of like locker room poison. So never know where that one goes. It could get the best of him, never goes to the Hall of Fame, but if he can stay healthy, gets 5 good years in there, maybe one or two MVPs, maybe a ring, he'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's a first ballot, but I think eventually he'll be in the Hall of Fame as well. I want to get to my third hot take.
Sure.
A Celtics dynasty will begin in the next 3 to 5 years.
Oh my God. It's roasting me for all my team hot takes, all my positive outlooks.
Yeah, but the Celtics are good.
Well, yeah, the Celtics are good. I don't think they're going to be a dynasty. Jason Tatum's good. Marcus Smart is pretty good.
Kemba Walker is great. Jason Tatum is going to be a superstar at some point very soon.
But yes, I forgot about Kemba Walker. Sorry,
Kemba Walker's great. Gordon Hayward's solid. Jaylen Brown is pretty good too. Marcus Smart. I mean, what more do you want, dude?
Marcus Smart has his ups and downs. He wasn't amazing.
Dude, Marcus Smart is the point guard definition of like a Ron Artest. Not gonna compare to the great Dennis Rodman, but like he is like the modern day point guard version of that type of player. He is just the ultimate hustler. Like he's a guy who will make plays at the end of the game. He is a great guy. Look, it's ambitious. I'm not gonna say it's not. I think they win a chip at least in the next 5 years. I think they're that good.
They're very good. And they've got a young team. I'll give you that. They've got to get past a lot, though.
They do.
They've got to get past. I mean, the Warriors are going to be back up and running next year. You've got you got Giannis and the Bucks, or potentially wherever Giannis wants to go. Which, since they're in the East too, you got to get past them, and then you got to do the finals. So you could potentially have have to get past the Bucks, and then get past the Warriors in the future, which wouldn't be easy. And you've got in the East too, you've got the Raptors. So we've been talking. I think I will give you that, even though I think aren't the Raptors the number 2 seed in the?
Yeah, they're number 2. Celtics are 3.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Although I get that, obviously based on record, Raptors have been winning more. I'll give it to you that I think the Celtics are a little bit better of a team, especially have the potential to be a better team. That they have a lot more of. But that doesn't change the fact that for the bubble, you got to get past the Raptors. In the future, you're probably going to have to get past whatever team they become. I mean, they're going to probably want to build around Siakam in a certain, for at least a few years, or at least trade him to get better players. And that'll be something you have to get around. There's a few other teams in the East. I don't know. I'm not saying that you're wrong. Kemba Walker definitely is an X factor. I don't know if I agree, though.
Dynasty is a big hot take, but I guarantee you that they will win a championship in the next 3 to 5 years.
A chip. Yeah, I could see it. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I put money on it, but if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll give you that.
So let's move on. Now, I know you all are wondering, how the hell did Cy's clothes change whilst he was on the air? Now, that's very interesting, and I commend you, all of you viewers, for such a shrewd and keen eye. But I will say that it was because we had some technical difficulties, and so we took a little bit of a break. And in the meantime, I was out doing some yard work, some labor, if you will, for my family, as a strong, able-bodied young man as myself will do from time to time. So I took a shower and I changed. So we're just about to do something really fun, though. We are going to do a point guard tier list. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with Tier Maker. You can make a lot of tier lists. It's a lot of fun. They're not a sponsor, by the way, but if tiermaker.com, if any of you guys out there wants to become my sponsor, I'm looking for sponsors. So yeah, let's get into it, Mac. Let's get into this point guard tier list.
Let's do it. So I realized last time doing this that I don't fully recognize all of these players, so I have a little. I mean, you probably do.
Don't worry. I looked up some of the names that I do not recognize.
Yeah.
And so I'll have those names ready for you.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And chances are, Mac, if you haven't heard of them, they're not very good.
Yeah, that's actually something to consider.
Yeah. So starting off with Avery Bradley, he's the point guard for the Lakers. Well, no, he plays point for the Lakers. LeBron is supposed to play point when coming back to the bubble because Avery Bradley is actually not going to go back to the bubble.
Oh, true.
He wants to be near his family and all that. I understand that, but this is just solely based off of the starting point guards for the year. So this is not based off the bubble. This is for right now, just in general. So Avery Bradley, I was thinking we put him in the C category.
Oh, 100% C. I like Avery Bradley, but I don't know, not the best, especially not compared to all the other starting point guards. I think C is pretty good for him. Ben Simmons next.
Ben Simmons, I'm gonna go A.
Yeah, I almost would say B. I put him in A because, I mean, he's definitely been doing well taking the ball up point for the Sixers, but okay, I'll stick to A for this, but I will say I may want to come back to him because I think he could possibly be a B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think he's like an out of this world type of talent. So I see him as like a great talent. He hasn't, and we've seen a lot of good stuff from Ben Simmons. It's he's got big size for a point guard. He can pass the ball incredibly well. But he's got to get his shooting up, and he's got to be able to lead his team to victories. And the Sixers have struggled this year, so that's where my one knock with Ben Simmons. But he's going to be great. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves up into the S category in a few years. But
oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I think he has a lot of potential. I'm just saying right now, compared to some of the other faces that I'm looking at, I'm like, well, we'll see. I might be convinced. Mm-hmm. Who's next? Is that Dennis Schroeder?
Is that Chris Paul?
Chris Paul, my God. I'm so
Oh my goodness, Mac.
I didn't recognize the Thunder jersey. My bad.
Yeah. These are updated ones, so they got all the ones for this year. Chris Paul is an A to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I was actually surprised to learn that the Thunders actually had like a pretty good year. I kind of thought they were bad, but I was looking it up the other day and I was like, oh damn, they actually did pretty well.
They're fifth in the West. They've surpassed expectations. If there's any team that has surpassed their wildest expectations, it's definitely the Thunder.
Yeah, true. All right, next.
I can't get a good look at him. He's the Heat, I think. Oh, that's Dame.
I thought it was Dame, but I didn't want to be stupid again and say it was someone random.
You've had some whiffs. Like from my view, it's like it's from a distance, so I just can't see. But that's Dame. Dame is S.
Yeah, Dame's definitely S. I was about to say.
D'Angelo Russell for the Timberwolves.
I don't mind D'Angelo Russell, but I kind of feel like he's either C or possibly low B.
I'd go B. I think he also has a lot of talent, and he's shown flashes of it. He's been an all-star before, so I can't see him on the same level as like Avery Bradley, but he's also not on the same level of like Ben Simmons and Chris Paul. I think B category would be like for those younger guys who have shown a lot of flashes, who've shown that they can play. Maybe have made a couple all-star teams, one or two all-star teams, but aren't really there yet.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I couldn't have put it better. Cavs point guard.
Yeah, that's Colin Sexton. He's either a D or an F. I think he's a D because he's been one of the few good things on that Cavs team. So I mean, I'll give him some props that he's actually trying on a terrible team.
Yeah, aren't they the worst team in the league, right? The Cavs.
Yeah, one of them. Well, no, they're not the worst team in the league, but like one of the worst teams in the league. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's like pretty much the bottom of the East.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, let's do D. But again, that's something that I would come back to because I could definitely see him in F. I would never have been able to recognize Constantine.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox.
That's interesting. I'm thinking B.
I'm thinking A. Well, maybe not A because he doesn't really compare with Ben Simmons and Chris Paul. I could see. I think that he has so much potential though, man. I like De'Aaron Fox a lot.
He has a lot of potential, but let me tell you why he's not on the same level of Ben Simmons and Chris Paul. Ben Simmons and Chris Paul have proven it. The Kings haven't really done anything. They've made splashes here and there, but De'Aaron Fox, we see him for this out-of-this-world talent. He's like probably the fastest guy in the NBA, one of the fastest guy, if not the fastest. But De'Aaron Fox hasn't. I don't think he's put it all together yet. And
I agree. Yeah,
he compares with like D'Lo and him on the same level seems just about right to me.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I'll put him in front, D'Lo, because I think he's a little bit better. All right, next.
Next we got DeJounte Murray from the Spurs.
He's okay. He might be similar to these two, in my opinion, probably a little bit worse. I might put him in C.
In C? Yeah, I was thinking like C or D. One of those two. Yeah. I mean,
he reminds me of these guys, but like, sorry, I don't know if you can still see my screen. I'm talking about De'Aaron Fox and D'Lo, but like, he's definitely kind of like a tier lower. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he's definitely a tier lower than De'Aaron Fox and D'Angelo Russell. The thing is, he's shown flashes. And obviously, I haven't watched a ton of Spurs basketball. I mean, they haven't been the best team or one of the best teams. They're a very middle of the pack team. He's shown flashes. He can make plays. It's just that I'm putting him a little bit above D just because he was supposed to be have a lot of promise and potential for the Spurs. He got hurt, so he's come back this year. He's only been averaging like 10 points a game, but I think he could get better. I think he could develop more. So I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt.
Yeah. I mean, I could see him one day being, maybe a little bit above serviceable at point guard. Just right now, he doesn't have it. You know what I mean? Is that D Rose?
Derrick Rose for the Pistons.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I want to. We're talking about whole career, be like B to A, or probably B, but like right now, C. Honestly,
I might give him a pass on B actually.
Is it because I mean he's just such a likable player, especially that one game when he's on was it the Timberwolves where he scored like 42, 45 points or something like that.
Yeah, he had like a 50-point game on the T-Wolves, but I'm just trying to like find his stats for the season. I feel like he's been averaging like 15 points a game this season, that's a solid. No, he's been averaging 18 points a game this season, Mac.
That's pretty respectable.
Like that's pretty good for where we thought our expectations of D Rose right now are a lot lower than that. So I mean, I'd throw him in B. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I like that. I mean, I love D Rose, and I'm as a Bulls fan, and I'm looking for every opportunity to talk about how sad it is that he literally MVP, dude, so fast, like literally an unbelievable player, career ending. Well, not career ending, but career slumping injury, several actually. We're kind of trying to keep this tier list current, and in that case, the 18.1 or 18 points a game, whatever it was. Is super respectable. I think is enough to at least do C, probably B. But with some of these guys too, like Steph's down here, he didn't play at all like last season, but he's probably going to be S because like just of what he's done in the past. Chris Paul, kind of same thing. Like he's good now. He used to be better, but that kind of like factors into it. So based on that, I'm definitely putting him in B because I agree with what you're saying. I like the 18 points, and he's got the history, dude. He's such a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a redemption story with Derrick Rose, man. Like, after those couple of injuries, you never thought he would get back to the same. And granted, he hasn't gotten back to the same level, but the fact that he's averaging like close to 20 points now, in shit Detroit Pistons team, like, it's respectable, man. Like, you really love to see something like that from Derrick Rose. You know, like, it's really just so heartwarming to see him playing at a pretty solid level again.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like you said, 18 points. That's pretty cool. I actually wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I was expecting it to be a lot lower, like maybe 9 to 12 points a game, you know, coming in and doing something, but that's pretty cool. Who we got next?
Yeah, zoom in for me. That's the Knicks. That's Elfrid Payton.
Just like Colin Sexton would have never.
Yeah, let's throw him an F. He plays for the Knicks, man.
Yeah, he plays for the Knicks. No discussion.
That's so we got Eric Bledsoe now.
Oh, I like Eric. I mean, that's another case of like, are we going to factor in like his history a little bit because he's not. I don't think he's really playing at the same level as he used to, but he used to be pretty damn good, and he's still pretty serviceable. You know what I mean?
He's solid, man. He's just a tough guy. You like to have him on your team. He actually just tested positive for corona, so that's a little tough. But he's on the older side. But he played well for the Suns back in the day. He's been playing well for the Bucks though. But the problem is he's not an elite point guard by any means. I would honestly throw Bledsoe along the lines. It's a B or C for me, like a low B, high C.
Do we really think he's on the same level as these two though? As DeJounte Murray and who's this again?
Avery Bradley.
Yeah, Avery Bradley. I think he's probably a step above them.
Yeah. You know, I would put him on the same level of see, like D'Lo's the highest in that group for me. D'Lo's like a high B. Yeah. But I'd throw him in. He's like a low B for me. He's averaging like 15 points a game. He's been solid, but it's not the points per game he's averaging or the assists. He's 15 and 5 assists, which is good. It's just what he means to the team, man. He moves the ball well. You know, he's a really good teammate for Giannis. He gives Giannis a lot of good opportunities. So, yeah.
All right, I think that's Ja, right?
Yeah, we got Ja, and I want to throw Ja in. That's a tough one, dude. It's a high B, low A for me.
He's A. You know he's A. I mean, we haven't seen a ton from Ja Morant, but he's still an unbelievable player, and he's got so much upside. It's almost not even funny. And like compared to like the upside of like these two, I don't know, man. I think that he's already like a better player, and he's already like going places. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he's gonna be better than both of those. Yeah, I'd put him in A. I think I'd definitely put him in A.
Albeit a low A. It's a low A.
Yeah,
like, there's other
just
players that are going to be in that tier that are probably going to be better than him. But, dude, oh my God, give it like 2 or 3 years, he's going to be incredible.
Yeah, the reason I was just hesitant is like we've only seen him one season, and granted he's been great this one season. I'd put him in that low A. Like he still has he needs more time to prove himself. But yeah.
Is this Jamal Murray?
Jamal Murray on the Nuggets.
I like him on the Nuggets, but he's definitely like the number 3 spot. You know what I mean? Behind actually, wait.
The Nuggets are number 3.
What's up?
The Nuggets are 3rd behind the Lakers and Clippers. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I know. I meant like the number 3 scorer. He might be the number 2 scorer actually because they got Jokic.
No, he's the second best player on the team.
Yeah.
I was gonna throw him in B.
high B though. I think he's better than D'Lo and De'Aaron Fox.
I don't know if he's better than D'Lo. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's really good. But he's just not on. He's not on that A level for me yet. He's not. He hasn't. I feel like those A level players are like the stars who aren't yet superstars, or were superstars and are now just stars. In the case of Chris Paul, but Jamal Murray isn't like a star to me yet. I don't know if he's made the All-Star team yet. He might have, but I think he's still got another step to go.
Has D'Lo made the All-Star team?
D'Lo has.
Really? I guess I don't really like D'Lo that much. I guess I didn't realize. Okay, I'll put him right here. I would agree with this because, yeah, I guess I'm not a huge fan of D'Lo. He's moved around a lot, hasn't he? He's played for like several different teams.
Yeah, he was on the Lakers, then he went to the Nets, then he got traded to the Warriors, and then he got traded to the Timberwolves.
That might be why I just don't really remember him. But yeah, if you say so. I mean, I like Jamal Murray a lot. I think him and Jokic are a good team, especially. I mean, it's hard not to be when you've got a player as good as Jokic on that team. He's just going to make the players around him better. But like, if you say so, I believe you. And plus the thing you said about the All-Stars, if D'Lo's has been an All-Star before and has the potential to do it again, even though if it's arguable they both have the potential to do it again, I think that constitutes a higher ranking in that regard.
Of course.
Yeah. Who's next? I don't recognize this guy.
That's John Wall.
Oh, I haven't seen him in so long. He was injured, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been out for a long time. Yeah, it's tough to really place him anywhere because Bradley Beal's kind of been this. So this tier ranking is obviously it just shows all the starting point guards if everyone was healthy. So I mean, Bradley Beal has really taken over that team. It's interesting because John Wall was the number 1 for the longest time, and Bradley Beal was the number 2 to John Wall. I think it'll be interesting to see once John Wall returns next year what'll happen. I think Beal is the number 1 guy now.
Bradley Beal, I've always thought was underrated. I mean, people would talk about him and be like, yeah, he's pretty good, like, putting up numbers. But yeah, he was always number 2 to John Wall. The Wizards really struggled for a while. And like, I just always thought like Bradley Beal is such like an untapped talent in that regard. Like I'm actually kind of like not really surprised he did as well this year as he did without John Wall, because like he dude, that the kid can score, and John Wall, I don't know if this opinion is super true because I don't follow the Wizards very closely, but maybe that was like a source of why they were struggling a little bit, is because John Wall was the number 1. It just based on that kind of, you could call it like a bad taste in my mouth based on like because of John Wall. I'd put him in probably either low B in front of Eric Bledsoe or possibly even C.
It's tough because John Wall hasn't played in 2 years. He's been injured for the last 2 years. It's crazy. And if when healthy, he was like a solid A player. I'd throw him in B just because it's like it's uncertain. Here's the thing. I feel like I'd throw him in B just because you want to respect what he's done, but you also don't know what he's got left. How he'll look when he gets back. But I think once he gets back, the Wizards team is going to be a lot different, and they're gonna contend better for sure.
Yeah, I'll put him in front of Derrick Rose here because kind of ironic. I was thinking about Derrick Rose when you were telling that story. I didn't realize he'd been injured for 2 years. I thought he was only injured for 1. Sometimes players like Derrick Rose don't come back from something like that. So I guess that might be why I wanted to rank him a little bit lower. I'll put him right in front of Derrick Rose because he still has the potential to come back and do good things. It's just like right now, the future's very uncertain.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We got Kemba next.
Kemba, yeah. I think he's A.
He's definitely A. He's like a high A too. It's like he's very good.
I'll put him in front of Chris Paul. I'd rather have Kemba than Chris Paul, 100%.
Oh yeah, Kemba's incredible, man. I mean, we saw in the Hornets he was averaging a lot of points, like, and now he's averaging less points. Statistically, might look like he's doing worse, but he just has a better team around him, so he gets more help. But Kemba's great. I love having. He's a great locker room guy as well. If you're comparing him to the Kyrie Irvings of the world.
True. I mean, replacing Kyrie Irving with Kemba Walker is not that bad of a deal. You know what I mean? No matter which way you work it, like I'd kind of almost rather. I mean, actually, this is going to be an interesting discussion because we've got Kyrie coming up here. But like, I'd kind of rather have Kemba on my team than Kyrie. Like, I know Kyrie's technically speaking the better player, but I mean, like, look at what he did to the Celtics. I mean, I think Kemba's way better for the Celtics than Kyrie was.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that.
Who we got next? Who is this?
That's Kendrick Nunn for the Miami Heat.
Another one that I would never have recognized. I never hear about him, but the Heat are a 4 seed, so he can't be terrible, right?
Yeah, I want to toss him in like C just because of that. The Heat are contenders, and he plays well. He's a solid player, but like he's not. There's a reason you don't hear about him much. But he's good. He's good. Not good, not great.
Yeah, I mean, compared to Avery Bradley, I put him right above Avery. What do you think? Do you think Avery Bradley first? Because they're both on contending teams.
I'd put Avery Bradley a little bit higher just because he has the experience.
True. Okay, we'll do that. And then, yeah, good. Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry, baby. Give him an A for me.
Yeah, I would say right here, right smack dab in the middle, in between Chris Paul and Kemba Walker.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I mean Chris Paul's so good, but he is
actually no. I like that better. I like him. I like Chris Paul right behind. I think that
Kyle Lowry is just one of the most underrated guys in the league, man. He's so good.
He's very
so
consistent.
Talented.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a guy you love to have on your team. He's gonna offensively, he's gonna move the ball around a lot. Give the right guy looks. He can hit big shots. And defensively, dude, this guy took so many charges in the playoffs last year. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's true. It was unbelievable.
True team player.
True team player. Plus, you can't argue with championship. You know what I mean?
Of course.
This is an interesting one. I had no idea where I would place Kyrie.
I think you have to put him in S just based on his talent alone.
But like I said, I'd rather have Kemba than Kyrie because I'm considering too, I think that on the wrong team, he can actually make things worse. And then there was all those reports about him going out because of his mental health and stuff. Again, like I said earlier, I saw those come out because it was related to fantasy news, and I'm not sure how real it was because I never saw it in anything huge. But I do wonder, yeah, he's very talented, but is he worth it?
Yeah, you're turning me around to this one just because, if you look at the last 3 years, once he left the Cavs, he was great on the Cavs. Don't get me wrong, 3 straight finals appearances. But if we're looking at right now, the guy first season on the Celtics, he didn't even play the whole season. He got hurt and he didn't play. Second season on the Celtics. So many locker room issues. It was like a cancerous environment there. And then now in the Nets, again, he doesn't play for the whole season and creates locker room issues as soon as he gets in. Do I think that'll change next year? Yeah. But yeah, you know what? I kind of agree with you on that. I'd put him in A as well then.
Yeah, I mean, and that's still we're still saying he's an amazing player. I mean, A, we put Kemba Walker, Kyle Lowry, Ja. We put great players in A. It's just I wouldn't put him on the same level as Dame just because yes, best ball handler in the league, fantastic scorer. On paper, he's a guy you want in your locker room, but in real life, he is not. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put him right there because I want to show that I would rather have Kemba than Kyrie, just to make that point.
Yep.
Drew Holiday.
That's Lonzo, buddy.
Oh, is that Lonzo? I thought it was. Where's Drew playing? Is he?
No, Drew's on the Pelicans, but I think Lonzo's Drew might be shooting guard.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought he
Yeah.
was point guard.
I think he plays both, but now that Lonzo's on the Pelicans, they're trying to give Lonzo more reps just because he's. I mean,
The whole audience is gonna think I know nothing about basketball.
it's tough sometimes to just look away stuff their faces, but
I know. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm not a huge fan of Lonzo. I would do probably low C, possibly. Yeah, probably low C.
low C, dude. Lonzo's getting good. Lonzo's been getting better, man. Like him and Zion play really well together. Lonzo's taken a step forward this year. So I really think he's starting to look pretty good. I would throw him in a B, granted a low B, but I would throw him in that B category, man.
Think so? I'll take your word for it.
Yeah,
Right here.
yeah, sure, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I don't think he's a C for sure. I think there's a lot of B point guards. Like the NBA is now so point guard heavy. Like if we were doing a tier list with centers, it would be a lot more C's and D's than we see with point guards. There's a lot of good point guards.
True. I'll take. Yeah, I agree with that. Take your word for it. All right. Big man himself.
Luka Doncic has got to be S.
Yeah, 100% S. I can't argue it with that even if I tried.
Yeah, I mean it's just got to be S. Malcolm Brogdon for the Pacers.
He's okay. I mean, maybe low B, high C.
Yeah, he's a B. I think
He's definitely a B. Yeah, just very average. Gets the job done, but not incredible by any means. You know what I mean?
I mean like he won't give you a whole lot of stats, but he's very efficient. He's a guy you want on the team. I think he had a 90-50-40 season where he shot 90% from the free throw line, 50% field goal percentage, and 40% from three.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Oh well, there you go, man.
He's efficient, but he's not going to get a lot of looks. You know, he's not going to get his usage rate is not going to be as high as some other guys.
Yeah. All right. Magic's point guard.
Markelle Fultz.
Oh, Marco Foles. Oh yeah, now I recognize him.
He's a D or F.
Yeah, he's not great.
I mean, like he's found a new home in Orlando, but like, I mean,
Such a bust.
yeah. Hopefully he can become like a solid NBA player, but it's just tough. I'd throw him in D.
Yeah, I got him going.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Conley, he used to be really good, dude.
He used to be really good. Now he's kind of just.
He's been kind of ass this year, man.
Yeah, I think like low B, maybe even under, either like right here or right after Eric Bledsoe.
I was gonna throw him in C.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's really regressed, man. Like the Jazz looked at him as like a really good option to pick up. Like he was supposed to really like get a chunk of the load there. Like it was supposed to be him, Donovan Mitchell, and Rudy Gobert, and then you got Bogdanovich as well. Like that, like the Jazz made some moves, but Conley hasn't really panned out for them.
Yeah. No, I never hear about Mike Conley. I used to. I know who he is, and I know that he's like Eric Bledsoe. He's like I always thought they were very similar because like they used to be like a lot better. Now they're not bad. They're just like definitely like have regressed a lot more than like people probably thought they would. Mm-hmm. Like they're kind of like serviceable, arguably not really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could be below average. I think if I were to say like the average point guard, I think Malcolm Brogdon is like a fantastic example. You know, like all these guys are above average, all these guys are below average. Just like very serviceable, does what he needs to do. Like you said, 90, 50, 40. And like you kind of start getting a little bit like less serviceable over here next to Eric Bledsoe. And like Mike Conley, you're just like, oh yeah, definitely more regression than you would have expected out of him.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, like C right now is like who I see as like the average type of players. Like, not great, But like Avery Bradley's on the Lakers, man. Like they believed in him.
Yeah, of course. I like it, Bradley.
No, he's solid, and that's what I mean. Like the NBA is now so point guard heavy that it's there's not a whole lot of starting point guards that are bad per se.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right.
We got Patrick Beverley. He's a B to me, man. That dude's feisty.
I like him. Probably like right over here, I'd say. We got a lot of B tier people.
I mean, well, it's expected.
Yeah, of course. Was expecting a little bit more C tier people. I don't know. Maybe Ricky Rubio.
Dude, but Ricky Rubio is also like a B level player, dude. Like he's been solid. I mean, yeah, he's a B or a C for sure, but like Ricky Rubio has been so consistently solid for most of his career.
Yeah, he's consistent. I'll give him that. I mean, like I definitely know who he is and know that he used to be pretty good. I guess I thought that he regressed. Maybe I'm wrong.
I would put him like it's like a high C or low B. I'd throw him like right under Bledsoe.
Right under. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. I think that's good. Russell Westbrook.
Dude, you got to put Russ in S. I think you have to put Russ in S.
Oh, I think so too. 100%. Steph
is S as well. And then Terry Rozier is like a D.
I almost want to put him right at the very. Well, no, you're right. He's kind of.
No, like he showed promise on the Celtics, and you're like, oh, this kid could be good, but like, then he was like, I want to be on my own team. I want my own team. I don't want to be in the footsteps of Kyrie or like Kemba or anyone like that. Like, because he had like such a good playoffs like in 2018, I believe, when Kyrie was hurt. And then he kind of regressed last season, but then he wanted out. Well, yeah, no, I'd actually throw him in C. He hasn't been playing horribly.
I mean, I had him on my fantasy team, and I think I actually ditched him after like 2 months. He started out good, not great, just definitely a little bit above okay.
Yeah.
And then middle of the season, I remember he just was not good. He just shat the bed. And then Devontae Graham took over, and he's good. I like him a lot.
The thing is, he's been averaging 18 points, which is solid. It's just that he plays for the Hornets, so he has to take a lot more shots, of course. So I mean, he's okay. He's good. I mean, he just like. I mean. Yeah, I'll say that. It's just he plays for the Hornets, so it's tough. But now we have the Bulls' Tomas Satoransky.
That's not Chris Dunn? I thought the Bulls still had Chris Dunn.
Yeah, it's either like it's Kobe White plays point guard too, but like I guess at the time, either way, any Bulls point guard for me is a D.
Kobe White's pretty good, but this isn't Kobe White, so. I'm not going to put him in. I would say Kobe White has a lot of upside. I would put him.
I'd throw him in like a C range. He hasn't. I mean, the thing is, you don't hear about Kobe White a whole lot. Like, sure, he's played well, but
he's the only. I was reading about him last night. He's like the only NBA rookie to come off the bench and have 2 consecutive 30-point nights, which is kind of nuts. I mean, of course, he's coming off the bench. I think he's got potential. He actually started kicking it into high gear. He had like 3 consecutive nights with 30 points. I think he scored like a bit above 40 on one night, but he's coming off the bench still. I think he could possibly be a starter next year or the year after for the Bulls. Well, actually, yeah, if he takes the point guard spot. I don't know who Tomas, whatever his name is, at all. And I'm going to put him specifically in F just because I don't know who that is.
Satoransky, yeah, he's okay. Yeah, but I guess if we need some more F level players, so like let's throw him in there. And then Trae Young, I'd throw an A.
Yeah, I think. Oh my God, he's gonna be like. Oh, I didn't mean to put him there. I think he's gonna be like an S soon. You know what I mean? Like in a few years.
Yes. Yeah.
Put him right there.
He will be. He will be. But I see the same thing with like Ja as I see in Trey. You know, he's just young.
Yeah, just lots of potential, but he's still got to get there.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Well, that's our tier list, guys.
Pretty sick.
Looks
Wait,
pretty
really quick.
good.
Let's see. What's the community rank? I guess this is what people did on Oh damn. Okay, so I changed it to S A B C D F, but originally it was like this.
Mhm.
This is kind of. I think this pretty much matches up with what we actually look at that. Above average, just like in B, Mike Conley down here. They definitely had more C's and less B's than we did.
Mhm.
This is correct down here.
I don't see how you can put Dame in. Dame's a superstar, man. Like you got to put him at the highest level.
Same time, baby.
Well, let's move on, Mac.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to check that out.
You can stop sharing your screen too. But before we get to my favorite part of the show, which is the power rankings, we will have Mac's final hot take.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about this. Okay, this is a pretty scorching hot take.
Okay.
I would like to preface it by saying that I am about 80% in, but not the last 20, because that could be argued. But I think the Warriors dynasty is over. I say they don't win another ring.
That's not a bad hot take. No, like that's a pretty good take. It's I mean, like the dynasty I think is over. I think they can. Where I disagree with you is where I think they still have a shot to win championships. Like they're still one of the teams in the mix, but the dominance that they've had is definitely over.
Yeah. Which I think is a good thing. I was sick of seeing them in the finals all the time.
It's good for basketball.
What's up?
It's great for basketball.
Yeah, it's great for basketball. I just think with Kevin Durant leaving, Klay Thompson, obviously still a great player, but he's slumping a little bit. And he got injured. He was slumping. And I mean, Steph Curry's always going to be Steph Curry. Draymond's still there, isn't he?
Yeah, Draymond's there. It's the original squad of Steph, Klay, and Draymond.
I just think that like, yeah, they're gonna be set up to like make a run, and they might make like a good, they might put together a good playoff run in like a year or two. But that being said, I don't think they win anything. I think that like they're a lot of players have moved around. There's a lot of very formidable contenders that just kind of weren't there when they originally had their dynasty, and I think that they're going to struggle a little bit in the next few years. Maybe not to the point where they're a bad team or as bad as this past year with everybody injured. I just think that they don't win a ring again. They're just going to be kind of good, and players will move on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they still got pieces to be really good. It's the tough thing is just there's so much more talent now on other teams that it's going to be really tough to win championships because there's so many contenders now. The league has really advanced in the quality of players that we have. So, but it makes things more exciting as a basketball fan. I'm very happy about that I don't have to see the Warriors every single year, and we can see other teams.
Seriously.
But now it's time for my favorite part of the show, Mac. These are the power rankings. So, Mac, I want you to give me number
10. The Washington football team, in parentheses, embarrassment of an organization.
Yes, Mac. We can't say the former name of the team anymore. Because that's I think like we actually cannot say that word anymore. But I also read this morning the owner of the Redskins is now in trouble for like 15 or so sexual harassment claims.
Yeah, I didn't read the article, admittedly, but there was this big thing going around yesterday, like, oh, the Washington Post is gonna like drop something on the owner of the Redskins, and then all of a sudden this morning I woke up, saw what it was, and I'm not too surprised, honestly. If you kind of have a bad vibe in the organization, stuff like that just kind of happens. And I don't know, maybe there needs to be a revamping of the Redskins. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean they need something to change. They like top down, like the structure of the organization. The corporate culture has got to change, Mac. As we learned in the business school, that
really using our business school buzzwords here.
Yeah. But like, yeah, things have to change, man. Like, there's a reason that there were so many problems. The fact that they didn't even change the name until now is a testament to where they stand as an organization. And Dan Snyder, the owner, should be ashamed of himself and should be removed. And I think if you remove him, that's the only way to really start a change.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's all about the tone at the top. Si.
It's top down.
It's top down, man. And you're right. No, you're right though. You're right though. I think. I mean, it goes to show you why like the Redskins haven't been great in a while. You know what I mean? Something that starts with the ownership of the team and then works its way down to the players and like the actual staff and stuff. And sometimes you just got to fix it by starting at the top and working your way down.
Yeah, just don't have a winning culture there. So at number 9, we have the NBA Snitch Hotline, Mac. This is the NBA anonymous tip hotline where players can report other players on if they're breaking like the bubble violations for COVID or not. And it's funny because Doc Rivers or Greg Popovich, one of those two, said that they would report LeBron and Kawhi and all the best players in the league and like Giannis.
Well, see, that's like the funny thing about it, dude, is that like at first it seems like such a good idea, because you're just like, yeah, I don't know why anybody like it's just contact tracing. I wouldn't even call it snitching, But then, I mean, Greg Popovich makes a good point. Like, if you accuse anyone in the league of having corona, they have to like test the living crap out of you and like make sure you're completely okay. You'll probably get quarantined and have to sit out of practice until the test results come back because I'm pretty sure it's not instant. I was talking to somebody who got it. I'm pretty sure it takes like a few days. So like if you're just like, yeah, I wanna like screw with LeBron's training schedule, you can just be like, LeBron is corona. I heard it. And like all of a sudden he loses like 3 days of practice,
Yeah, and Twitter would go crazy too, like because that news would come out very quickly. Yeah, it's nonsense. I do think it's good for the league to have this and for like people who are actually violating the rules, but a lot of NBA players don't want to take part in this. So
that's what I was thinking too. I mean, these people are making so much money, Why would you want that? Whatever. Anyways.
Yeah. Give me number 8.
Number 8, we've got. Oh wow! Look at that, taking charges.
Yeah, one of the most important parts of the game, Mac. If you, of course, take a charge and it's actually a charge, that's a very crucial part of this.
Yeah, and you've had struggles with your definition of what charges are in the past, and I'm really glad that you've gotten better at identifying it now.
And when I say taking charges, I don't mean the flop that you took that one time when you called the charge on me on the basketball court.
So I think you're mistaken. I mean, yes, I did do that, but in that particular scenario, in that particular case, you actually did charge me. So you must be thinking of a different time. I must not remember the time that you're thinking.
We'll agree to disagree because this conversation would go on forever, but I have witnesses, Mac, who would think otherwise there. But number 7, we have our wonderful guest, Mac Rivara. Thank you so much for joining the show today. It's been a true pleasure having you on.
Thanks, Si.
And with that being said, Mac, give me number 6.
Number 6, Bill and Beer.
Well, Mac, let me tell you why I put Bill Laimbeer at number 6.
I'd love to know.
Over the past 5 weeks or so, I've been slowly revealing my top 5 greatest players of all time. 4 weeks ago, I revealed Dennis Rodman on the power rankings because he's the greatest player of all time. The following week, I had Meta World Peace, or Ron Artest, if you will, who's the second greatest player of all time. The following week was Draymond Green at number 3. The week after that was Horace Grant at number 4. And now, number 5 is Bill Laimbeer. Mac, these guys just play the game the right way. Just hard-nosed, gritty basketball, knock the other guy down type of game. And that's the way I like to play the game.
True. I mean, like, they're the ones who do the dirty work. You know what I mean? Someone's got to do it.
Exactly. And that's why I've strived to be like Dennis Rodman every time I hit the courts. Number 5, we have Celtics Shaq, Mac. Now, let me tell you something about Celtics Shaq. This guy was a large man. I think Doc Rivers would put him out on the floor just to foul. Like he just throw him out there and be like, just foul the guy, and he'd play like 5 minutes a game and he'd just foul out.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I actually don't know very much at all about Celtics Shaq, so I can't comment. But I mean, that seems like pretty good use of him, I guess.
Well, it was in the twilight of his career. It was like the last team he played for, I think. And he just like literally just he was just so large, dude. He was very out of shape.
Yeah, I think I've seen pictures and videos of him in a Celtics jersey, but I'll check out some highlights.
Give me number 4, Mac.
Number 4 is awesome. The 108-year championship drought.
They suck, Mac.
They do. Oh, excuse me. Parentheses, they suck.
They suck. They suck really bad. Tell me about your experiences going through a 108-year championship drought.
It was really long. It started in 1914, right before I went to war. Actually, no, it started in 1908, right before I went to war in 1914. And then I lived an impeccably long life, and now I'm here.
And still have kept your youthful appearance.
Oh, Sai, please. Please. There's no need to compliment your guests. They're already on your show. No, there's one story. I know people hear Cubs stories like this all the time, but my grandpa was born in 1914, and he was born so that's 6 years after the Cubs last won the World Series before 2016, and then he died in 2015. So and he was like the world's biggest Cubs fan. So there's a lot. It is funny because there are a lot of like Cubs fans that kind of have that story. Someone who always wanted to see them win and never got to. That's why sports, they're very emotional. You know what I mean?
No, they really are, and that's about the 50th time I've heard Mac tell that story, but it is a very heartwarming story, and yeah, it's.
Well, Sai, maybe some of your viewers haven't heard that story, and I'm a little bit surprised that you would say that.
I know the fans haven't heard that story, and they'll be sitting at home shedding tears of with that story.
Okay. What's the next one?
Number 3 is Ledecky Ball. He was on the power rankings last week. He makes a reappearance this week because not only is this guy the 4th Ball brother, he's also a incredible rapper. Lil Dicky. Mac, are you a Lil Dicky fan?
You know what? I'm into his early work.
Okay.
I think he left his stride. I haven't paid attention to him in a while.
Yeah, he has a new show called Dave, which I watched the first season of. It came out this year. It's pretty good. Check it out. Little quick shameless plug for Ledecky. But the 4th, maybe the 3rd best basketball player in the family ahead of LiAngelo Ball.
I would say so. Maybe we should do a a power ranking of basketball players.
would be a fun one to do. Mac, how about you give me number 2?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to say this one because, well, it's you. Number 2 is you, but it's written as myself. So, in that spirit, I'll let you take it away, Sai.
Well, number 2 is myself. And the reason I have the guests read number 2 is so that they can share stories of greatness about me and how I'm an inspiration to all the children out there, and everyone who strives to start a podcast looks up to me and says, I want to be like that bearded Indian man one day.
I think we all already look at you that way. You just have a platform for yourself now.
Thank you so much, Mac. That means so much to me.
No problem.
Number 1, I
I'm
have to
like shaking in my seat. I can't wait to hear this.
Number 1, Mac. You know, drum roll, everyone. Number 1. Number 1, I have to pay homage, as I'm the Beard 2.0. I have to pay homage to the original Beard, James Harden. Thank you for inspiring me to do what I do today in growing this beard. It's because of the foundation and hard work you have set in growing your own. So shout out to James Harden for his incredible beard.
Really, really nice beard.
And with that being said, that was the top 10 in the power rankings. But I always love to give a couple outside of the top 10 that just didn't quite make the cut. So, number 4007, World War II Japanese Emperor Hirohito. This guy was in cohorts with that Hitler guy. What do you think about this, Mac?
Well, I'm not the biggest Hitler guy, but everybody has their own opinions. So if Mr. Hirohito thought that it was the right thing to do.
It's Emperor, by the way, not Mr.
Oh, excuse me. Emperor Hirohito. If he was everybody's got their own opinions. If he thought it was the right idea, then maybe it was for him at the time. And then he clearly is in history now as an emperor. So he made something of himself, which is nice. He's
known in history as an emperor and also friend of Hitler. That's always a nice little keynote to add to your biography.
Something you put on your resume.
No, but this guy was a real jerk. I mean, he like committed a lot of war crimes and stuff. Not something you want to put on the old a little blemish on the record there.
Yeah, maybe not something to put on your resume.
Yeah. But right underneath him at number 4008, you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, it's J.R. Smith. So thank you again, and once again, a big thank you to Mac for joining us this week on Top of the Key. If you like what you saw, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, leave me messages, positive or negative, whatever you want me to know. Whatever you want me to know behind those cyber walls of the internet, just please let me know. And once again, thank you for joining us on another episode of Top of the Key. We'll be back next week, and have a great night, folks.